Ryoma is an incredibly skilled slime tamer with a mindset that will make him more successful than Jeff Bezos. The story starts with the ugly 11-year-old boy Ryoma Takerubayashi, who lives alone in a forest. Despite his young age, he managed to tame over 1,000 slimes, which he uses to nutting in them. Then we see Ryoma, and he begins his day feeding his slimes with different types of Pokemon. This causes the slimes to evolve into rare types with special abilities. However, the slimes help Ryoma with housework, so Ryoma doesn't have to lift a finger. Ryoma then goes into the forest and enjoys the beautiful weather. Suddenly he hears someone screaming and he becomes curious. Next he discovers a group of ugly guys. He notices the stupid-looking guy who is lying on the ground is losing a lot of blood. So Ryoma decides to help the ugly piece of trash. When Ryoma appears in front of the guys, one of the knights draws a sword. Ryoma tries to tell them that he has medicine, but because he hasn't spoken to anyone for several years, he has forgotten how to pronounce sentences properly. However, he showed his medicine that he brought from Costco, and the ugly orange hair guy, who looks like a little girl, checked the medicine. Next they poured the medicine into their friend's mouth, and they noticed that Hughes had very bad breath. Meanwhile, the leader of this group thanked Ryoma, and Ryoma tells them that he would like to invite them to his home. Ryoma led them to his apartment, and the knights wonders why he was alone in a dangerous forest. Suddenly, Ryoma's sticky slimes appeared and the knights wanted to attack them, but Ryoma cleared up the misunderstanding. They said sorry for trying to attack his familiars, and one of them told him that he is also a monster tamer, and his first tamed monster was a slime too. Besides, Ryoma learns that the stupid-looking blonde guy seemed to be a noble. When they arrived, Ryoma showed them his hidden apartment behind a spell, and they were surprised that this young boy was able to use barrier magic. Following, one of them notices that Ryoma only has furniture for a single person. After that, we see Ryoma gave them healing potions, and he tells them that he made it himself. This shocks them, and Ryoma tries to change the subject, because otherwise they would find out about that the healing potions were created after he nutted into a slime. However, Ryoma offers them water, but his plan doesn't work because they realize he can use ice magic too. Then Ryoma introduces himself, and he learns that Reinhardt Jamil is a duke. Reinhardt and his friends thanked Ryoma for his help, because otherwise their friend Hughes would die. However, Ryoma learned that they were attacked by bandits in the forest. Besides, Reinhardt wanted to know where Ryoma learned magic. So Ryoma tells them he learned it from his grandparents. He told them that they passed away 3 years ago. Since then, he lives alone. Reinhardt thought Ryoma's story sad and he didn't want to let a little child live alone in such a dangerous forest. But Ryoma replies that he wouldn't mind to stay here. Suddenly, the magician Camille shows Ryoma a magic item to measure his abilities. However, they wanted to make sure Ryoma could handle the forest on his own, while Ryoma asks if the crystal is a Dragon Ball. Camille wonders if this boy is stupid because Dragon Balls are orange, but he let it slide because of Ryoma's young age. After learning more about Ryoma, Camille seems a little bit worried. While Ryoma get dinner ready, the other guys learned that Ryoma's skills are at a very high level. Following, Reinhardt wanted to think of a plan how he can take care of Ryoma. Therefore, Reinhardt decided to go back to his home to talk with his family about Ryoma's situation. When Hughes recovered, they said goodbye to Ryoma and thanked him for saving him. Before they set off, Ryoma tells Hughes to drink Logan Paul's limited edition Prime Hydration drink. He was disgusted, but his friends forced him to swallow it like a proud OnlyFans chick. After that, they said goodbye to the ugly boy and left the forest. Ryoma felt guilty that he couldn't tell them the truth, that his grandparents didn't die. We then learn that Ryoma lived in Japan and was employed by Amazon. Ryoma had to work overtime every day, and because of this he died. Next, some gods tells them about his situation, but he reacted very calm after learning that he had died because of Jeff Bezos. The gods were surprised that Ryoma was so calm and realizes that this guy is cooked. Ryoma replies that his death didn't surprise him because he worked in a company that exploited him. Then the creator god Gain introduced himself to Ryoma. However, Ryoma was told that he died a miserable death from sneezing in the night. Ryoma couldn't believe his death was so pathetic because he always thought his life would be ended by Truck-kun. When he regained his senses, Ryoma was allowed to receive a reincarnation. The gods told him that he would get a new body and he'd be reborn as an 8-year-old boy. He will be sent to another world and will still have all his memories. Before Ryoma was sent to the other world, the gods helped him invent a story about his past and gave him advice and knowledge for his new life. Ryoma was also not allowed to tell anyone about his reincarnation, and he was sent to the other world. Next we see our ugly stupid-looking boy Ryoma, who was reborn in the world Sealfall. Arrived in the other world, the gods left Ryoma with a book of knowledge about the world and some equipment. Ryoma decides to test his powers, while he discovered slimes in the tall grass. Following, he is reading his new Harry Potter book. As a result, Ryoma learned how to use the magic in his body. Also, he manages to use the magic to tame monsters, and decided to tame 1,000 slimes. A few days later, Reinhardt returned with his ugly family, and his father, who looks like a Disney princess from Thailand, introduced himself to Ryoma. Ryoma blushed when he realized that Reinhardt's wife Elise got cake. Next he met Eliaria, the daughter of Reinhardt. Since Elise was a busty MILF, he was already planning to rizz her up for his future plans. Ryoma tells them that he is pleased to meet them because he is a gold digger and plans to rip them off. Following, the Jamil family notice that Ryoma has a lot of slimes, and they wonder if all the slimes would fit in his home, so Ryoma shows them a trick, and he plays a spell card that he stole from Yugi. This causes a fusion of his slime, and Eliaria is very impressed. However, Ryoma explains them that he also got a skill called Minimize, which allows him to make the slime very small. The Jamil family couldn't believe it because they had never seen such huge slimes before. At that moment, Elise tells Ryoma that he is the first person in history who have tamed a big slime, and that a big slime is more valuable than a shiny Gyarados. Ryoma wonders if she's retarded and explains to her again that the big slime is made from 100 ordinary slimes. But she's not listening and calls him a genius. Suddenly, Elise tells Ryoma about the Tamer Guild and suggests that he should become a monster tamer. Next, Reinhardt thanks Ryoma again for saving Hughes and gives Ryoma a supreme alarm clock. Ryoma is happy about it and plans to resell it on eBay. After that, he learns that the Jamil family are monster tamers, and Eliaria wanted to tame her first slime. Unfortunately, they haven't found any in the forest, so they asked Ryoma for his advice. Ryoma showed them on a map the living place of the slimes. Suddenly, Eliaria asks Ryoma about the different types of slimes since she is greedy and wants a shiny one as her first familiar. Ryoma realizes this is his chance to clap her cheeks in the future, while she asks about unknown slimes that never existed before. Then Ryoma introduced his two newly created slimes, his scavenger slime and his cleaner slime. Everyone was surprised by Ryoma's cleaner slime, since a cleaner slime could remove very stubborn dirt. Also, Ryoma showed the Jamil family that a cleaner slime is harmless, because a cleaner slime only eats dirt. Eliaria decides to catch a slime that evolves into a cleaner slime, and Reinhardt was excited too, because he got the same idea as Ryoma to use a cleaner slime for releasing pressure. However, Eliaria asks him about the conditions for evolving such a slime, but Ryoma blushes, so he tells Reinhardt and his knights about the condition. When Hughes explained to the women that she had to feed the slimes with their dirty bath water, all women blushed. Suddenly, Hughes got a slap in the face and wondered if they were all having their strawberry week. Eliaria feels embarrassed after thinking about feeding a slime her dirty sweat water, but she was determined to catch one on her own. Ryoma knew from his previous life that doing everything alone is very difficult, so he wished Eliaria good luck. Later on, she set off with a bucket full of sweat water and managed to tame her first slime. Ryoma congratulated her, but he was a little bit sad because she was giving the slime all the bathwater, so there is nothing left for selling it on OnlyFans. After that, Reinbach tells him that they're planning to move to Tilted Towers. They want Ryoma to accompany them, but Ryoma is an introverted ugly loser and didn't want to leave his home. Eliaria tells him that he will definitely have fun on the trip. Also, she promises to give him a subscription for her mother's OnlyFans account for free. This convinces him, and he plans to accompany the Jamil family. When Reinhardt offered Ryoma to store his luggage in his servant's item box, the Jamil family learned that Ryoma had an own item box. This surprises them, and they learn Ryoma could use advanced magic. A few moments later, Ryoma started packing up all of his ugly furnitures and items. He said goodbye to the statues of the gods, who reincarnated him to this world. The following day, Ryoma was ready for his journey, and the Jamil family picked him up. Meanwhile, ugly butler Sebas, who earns just minimum wage, plans to show off his skills, so he uses a dimension spell, and two carriages with horses appeared out of the portal. On the way to Tilted Towers, the Jamil family learns that Ryoma was able to master all kinds of elemental magic. Also, Ryoma tells them that he can use alchemy, and the Jamil family is impressed by Ryoma for possessing so many rare talents. Later on, the carriage stopped and the Jamil family learned that there is a problem due to an earthquake. Ryoma offered to help the useless piece of and he pulled out a raincoat that he made with his sticky slimes. Then Ryoma looked at the problem and created a barrier that protects them to get wet from the rain. Following this, Ryoma used earth spells and he turned the earth into bricks. After this, Ryoma ordered his slimes to take care of the problem and was able to solve it in just a few seconds. Everyone was impressed by Ryoma, and Elise hugged him while Ryoma blushed after getting close to the mommy milkers. A few days passed and ugly loser Ryoma arrived in Tilted Towers, and he was very excited because he visited a new town for the first time since he was reborn in this world. Then he looked out of the window and he was curious about the city because he heard Tilted Towers are known for their mines and that he can use them to farm Roblox fruits. However, Ryoma went to church with the Jamil family. They planned to find out about Ryoma's stats and make him an ID card. So Ryoma was greeted by a stupid-looking chick with mommy milkers and she explained him how to measure his stats. Ryoma starts to touch the crystal ball and it starts to glow. Suddenly, Ryoma is summoned to the gods' realm and they were happy to be able to chit-chat with their favorite loser, who smells like shit. Ryoma thought he had died again, but the gods explained to him that only his consciousness was summoned to them and his body is unharmed. Ryoma learned that he can always talk with the gods in the church. Then the gods praised Ryoma, as they found it amazing that he had tamed all the slimes and was able to create unknown slimes like the cleaner and scavenger slimes. In addition, Ryoma learned that an ancestor of the Jamil family also came from Earth. It was a young pretty girl who had invented monster taming after watching Solo Leveling. Also, there was a guy who was hit by Truck Kun and he married into the Jamil family. This ugly dude was useless, although he was under the protection of the gods too. However, Ryoma learned that Eliaria possesses powers similar to those of her Earth ancestors. Ryoma was happy for his future wife that she is blessed with a lot of talent. The gods were happy that Ryoma is different and he tries many new things. Ryoma was praised and they thanked him for entertaining them so much. Before Ryoma was sent back, he learned that other gods are interested in him too. When Ryoma's consciousness was back in his own body, his status transfer was transmitted and he learned that he got the skill Riz God, which makes him overpowered. After leaving the room, Reinbach tells him some advice. He suggests that Ryoma should join the Tamers Guild, because his skills are far too advanced for his age. Elise agrees with Reinbach, while Ryoma intends to follow the advice. At the same time, Eliaria wonders what his total magic capacity is. Ryoma replies that his magical capacity exceeds 198,000 and he is therefore stronger than Vegeta. She is worried because his powers usually cause many side effects. However, Sebas understands that Ryoma is a genius and explains to him that a very high magic capacity can lead to problems in controlling magic. Suddenly, Eliaria tells Ryoma that she has a magic capacity of over 200,000. He is surprised and remembers how he was told that the Jamil family are descended from an ugly overpowered loser. Suddenly, he learned Eliaria wasn't that skilled with magic, and Ryoma suggested that they could practice magic together in their free time. The next day, Ryoma was planning to visit the barber to get a new crispy haircut, but the Jamils forced him to register at the Tamers Guild. However, Eliaria successfully registered as a tamer, but Ryoma wasn't allowed to become one, because the rank is determined by the monster's strength. The Jamil family can't believe that Ryoma was unable to register as a tamer due to the weak slimes, although his 1,000 slimes would manage to beat all of the other monster with ease. Despite this, Reinhardt got a great idea and told Ryoma to join the Adventurers Guild, thinking it suits him more. A few hours later, Ryoma met an ugly old man who looks like Wolverine's cousin. Ryoma needs to show his fighting skills in order to be accepted into the Adventurers Guild. In his first test, Ryoma had to hit various targets with a bow and arrow. The Jamil family let him cook, and Ryoma was more skilled than Oliver Green's. As a result, Ryoma hit all the targets with ease and he could become the next Gotham Green Arrow. So, the Guild Master and Jamil family were impressed by Ryoma's high-level skills. While Eliaria was celebrating Ryoma's overpowered Assassin's Creed skills, Ryoma was told about the second test. He needs to hit moving targets with his bow, but Ryoma hit all the targets with ease and was able to pass the second test too. Reinhardt can't believe that Ryoma is just an 11-years-old little child. After the second test, he was attacked by the Guild Master. Ryoma managed to fend off the attack and he almost fried the Guild Master. However, Ryoma was registered as an adventurer, and he immediately got his G-rank adventurer ID card. Then Ryoma was explained that he must complete quests to increase his rank. Then he went to the guild to choose a quest, where he met a hot chick, and he plans to make someday the mommy milker receptionist to his second wife. While he was planning his harem, she explained how to choose quests. Ryoma looked at the quest board and decided to accept a cleaning quest for retarded little boys. Then we see Ryoma in front of a dirty house and he knocked on the door. A cat MILF appeared and he was surprised, because she was overjoyed to see Ryoma, who was willing to help her with her garbage problem. However, Ryoma learned that she is a dirty-ass cat, and the garbage dump next to her house was no longer cleared by anyone. Besides, the garbage entered Mia's house through a broken wall. Ryoma took his cleaner and scavenger slimes out of his backpack and he ordered his scavenger slimes to eat all of the trash. Ryoma's smelly slimes immediately start their work, and immediately ate the garbage as if it were a Krabby Patty from the Krusty Krab. After the garbage was removed, Ryoma used his slimes to clean the building. Also, he fixed the wall of the garbage dump and Mia's house with his sticky slimes. Ryoma was able to complete his first quest very fast and Mia was extremely happy. She thanked Ryoma for his help, which made him happy too. Following this, he told her about some papers that she need to sign, so she signed up that Ryoma would be her new OnlyFans manager. After that, Ryoma said goodbye and went to the guild to collect his reward. Ryoma got a huge reward in the guild, and he learned that Mia had increased the reward because of his good work. Then he was called by Guildmaster Worgen. He praised Ryoma because nobody managed to get the dump clean, and Ryoma realized that this stupid guildmaster is useless for unable to fix a small hole in a wall. Suddenly, Ryoma was given a special quest, as Worgen asked if he could clean the public toilet pits. Worgen tells him that no one accepts the quest because the job comes from the town government. They are very stingy, and the slum dwellers, who are usually in charge of the job, always refuse. This gets Ryoma angry after hearing about the bad conditions, because this recalls some memories about his old job as an office worker for Amazon. Ryoma accepted the assignment and he wanted to help Worgen take care of the problem. Following this, Ryoma plans to snitch about the bad conditions to the Jamil family, because he knew they would take care of the problem for the future. Reinhardt suspects that a member of the town government was embezzling money to buy expensive stuff, so he orders his ugly servant Sebas to investigate the case. Also, the Jamil family agreed to help the slum dwellers and prepared countermeasures. The next day, Ryoma stood in front of the public restrooms and was shocked by the foul smell, which smelled like a night with Donald Trump's ugly wife. Ryoma got ready for his battle against public toilets, so he summoned his slimes. Then he put on protective clothing against the stench, and he started into the first pit. A foul stench came out, but his Breaking Bad suit protected him, so Ryoma immediately ordered his scavenger slimes to eat the dirt. At the same time, he used his cleaning skills and disinfected the room. Ryoma managed to clean the first pit without any problems, and his scavenger slimes multiplied from the many nutrients they ate. Ryoma checked the stats of his disgusting slimes and he noticed that there are toxic substances in the pits. However, Ryoma reported it to the guildmaster and the Jamil family, so they learned about the poisonous miasma. Elise and Eliaria were concerned about Ryoma inhaling some of the poisonous substance. Ryoma was flattered that two hot chicks were worried about him and assured them that he was healthy thanks to his Breaking Bad suit. Despite this, Worgen and the Jamil family wanted Ryoma to abort the quest because of the dangerous substances in the pits. But Ryoma replies he needs to protect Gotham City, because the toilets are a danger to the residents. The Jamil family tried to talk him out to do this dangerous job, but Ryoma showed the high poison resistance that he possesses. As a result, the Jamil family accepted his decision to continue with the assignment. The next morning, Guildmaster Worgen sent more adventurers to assist Ryoma. So Ryoma took care of cleaning the pits, while the adventurers guarded the entrances to the pits so that no one would get sick from the poisonous substances. Ryoma became faster and faster in cleaning the pits, because the slimes multiplied, and by owning 1,000 scavenger slimes, they could fuse together to form a king slime. While Ryoma did his cleaning job like a real housewife, Elise and Eliaria brought Ryoma a lot of food every day. Ryoma worked harder than an exploited Japanese office worker in a small company, and the other adventurers were amazed at how hard-working Ryoma is. After 3 days, Ryoma finished cleaning the pits and managed to remove all poisonous substances. Followed then Mia was very proud of Ryoma that he managed to clean all pits by himself, so she hugged him and Ryoma blushed after Shoddy become naughty. Next, Ryoma visit the guild to report Worgen about his completed quest to get his money. After that, Ryoma returned exhausted to the Jamil family mansion. On the way home, he remembered how his mother would be waiting for him every morning. When she died, Ryoma was sad because there was no one who greeted him warmly when he came home. Then he opened the door. Eliaria and the others waited for Ryoma's return from his hard work. Ryoma was happy with his life in the new world because he found a loving family, and he started to cry. Ryoma thanked them that they always supports him although he is an ugly, stupid little boy. At that moment, he remembered the warm feeling in his heart that he always felt because of the love of his mother. Then Ryoma went to sleep and was finally able to rest after the hard-working job to clean up tilted towers. Early in the morning, Eliaria cooks breakfast to please Ryoma. Her mother and the other servants help her, afraid that this useless girl might mess it up. Ryoma is surprised after realizing that Eliaria is future wifey material, and he thanked for her cooking. So Ryoma tasted Eliaria's homemade food and tells her that her breakfast is bussin', while Hughes tells Ryoma that he would prefer to eat some Popeye's fried chicken in the morning. He immediately regretted saying anything, because all women were glaring at him angrily. After breakfast, they went to a mountain outside of Gimmul. Ryoma wanted to teach Eliaria how to use magic, hoping to get her cheeks clapped as his reward. Following this, Ryoma combined 2 different spells and cast fire magic that sparkled beautifully. They were impressed, and Ryoma also showed possible spells with water magic. Ryoma created bubbles, and the Jamil family wonders how this ugly loser find out to cast this spell. However, Eliaria wanted to learn the magic too and asks Ryoma if he can teach her the spell. Following, Eliaria tries to cast the spell too, manages to create bubbles. Unfortunately, her created bubbles immediately bursted. So Ryoma tells her to imagine how one of his sticky slimes nutted on her hands while she tried to implement his advice. Eliaria tried to cast the spell for the second time and was now able to make soap bubbles as well. Next, Ryoma showed them another weird spell and he created a big soap bubble that didn't burst. Everyone was amazed by this kind of spell and they enjoyed to play with it. However, Ryoma wanted to show Eliaria more of his Isekai magic that he had created. So Ryoma filled the bubble with water and he tries to shape it into Cristiano Ronaldo, but the final result was an ugly fish. Eliaria thanked Ryoma for teaching her so much fun things. After learning so many new type of magic, she practiced using the newly learned spells. Meanwhile, we see Ryoma, he also learned new spells from the magician Camille. After getting the feeling to cast attack magic, Ryoma began experimenting while Camille just let him cook. Ryoma created crazy overpowered spells that shocked Camille. Suddenly Sebas appears and he wanted to teach Ryoma space magic. Sebas learned that Ryoma could use teleportation magic. As a result, he saw a lot of potential in Ryoma, and he planned to teach him the warp spell first. However, Ryoma is told to focus on the tree in the distance. When Ryoma imagines himself standing next to the tree, he activates his teleportation spell. However, Sebas was able to teach him a lot of useful spells like Dimension Home or Item Box. Ryoma practiced until the evening, and he managed to master all spells. Ugly butler Sebas was proud of Ryoma and congratulated him. The following day, Ryoma accompanied the Jamil family to the abandoned Gimmul mine. Elise explains Ryoma that Eliaria needs to gain some combat experience, because as a rich kid she may have to fight against monsters or bandits in the future. He was also told that Eliaria would be going to school soon, which made Ryoma sad when he heard about this. After arriving at the mine, Ryoma summoned all of his slimes out of his dimension home, and they set off to fight against the monsters deep in there. The Jamil Knights tell Ryoma and Eliaria that everywhere might be traps, so they should always walk behind them. Suddenly, a wild Pokemon appeared, and they noticed that it was Mantis, who escaped from a Kung Fu Panda movie. Meanwhile, Hughes wished Eliaria good luck in her first Pokemon battle. However, Eliaria tried to defeat the monster with ice arrows. Everyone was worried about her, but Eliaria managed to defeat her first monster. Ryoma tells her that she was great in battle, which made Eliaria very happy. As they walked on, they encountered more monsters, and Ryoma was allowed to fight as well. This makes Ryoma excited, and he plans to cook the monsters to show of his talent in front of his crush. So he used 2 short swords and attacked the giant mantis with Isekai Diddler power. Ryoma was cooking and he destroyed the monster as if the Diddler in jail would, forcing the monsters to pick up the soap. After going all out, he was able to defeat 4 monsters with ease. Eliaria was impressed, and the others already guessed that Ryoma is also strong in close combat. As they were about to go back, Eliaria spotted a metal slime. She tries to catch the slime and she uses ice magic to stop the slime from running away. Following, Eliaria shows Ryoma her newfound shiny slime and she handed it over to him, telling him that he should catch it with a Pokeball. Ryoma was happy and he thanked Eliaria for gifting him such a rare slime. Later on he got the idea to feed his metal slime, so Ryoma used his alchemy skills and he turned the rust on the ground into high-quality metal. Everyone was amazed by Ryoma's alchemy skills and couldn't believe that Ryoma could create high-quality metal with some dirt. In the evening, Reinbach introduced Ryoma to his fat and ugly friend Serge, who is a very nice merchant. Ryoma showed Serge his high-quality metal, which he created with some dirt. Also, he showed some products that he bought from China to make some money with dropshipping. Serge was impressed after seeing Ryoma's products and he wanted to help Ryoma to sell his goods. However, they made a deal. Ryoma asked if Serge could keep his identity as a secret. Reinbach explained to Serge that it could cause many problems if someone knew that the high-quality goods were created by a little boy. Also, Reinhardt told Serge that Ryoma should keep all the profits, while Ryoma was surprised that the Jamil family aren't greedy rats like 6ix9ine. However, Ryoma was very grateful for their support, and he looked forward to the future to become a top G in this world. In the days that followed, all adventurers were called to the guild, and Worgen told them that strong monsters were discovered in the mines. Worgen tells them that he needs their help to hunt down the monsters. Later on, Ryoma was doing some slime research to learn more about their abilities, while Eliaria wondered what Ryoma was doing. Ryoma tells her that tries to find out what his metal slime didn't like. While teaching his metal slime some hentai skills, he found out that his metal slime is afraid of acid. Following, his slime turned into a ball, and Eliaria is very impressed about this useless ability. Suddenly they heard some voices outside of the window. Ryoma learned that his ugly adventurer friends arrived to pick him up. However, Ryoma sent his slimes back to his dimension home, so Professor Oak can take care of them. Next, Eliaria tells him to be careful on the mission and wished him to have fun. Before entering the mine, they were informed about the types of monsters that live in the mines, while Ryoma realizes that Worgen draws like a 2-year-old little baby. Then we see Ryoma and his ugly retarded friends enter the mine, while he finds the ugly guy next to him a little bit sus, thinking that he is a fruity biscuit. A short moment later they discover 2 different ways, so they split into 2 groups to hunt down all of the monsters. As they went deeper into the mine, Mia wanted to know how many slimes Ryoma tamed. He replies that he had already tamed over 4,000 slimes. The other adventurers couldn't believe that such an ugly stupid little boy manages to control so many slimes, so they were impressed. Suddenly, Mia heard that monsters were approaching and they were ready to eliminate the wild Pokemon because they didn't have any Pokeballs with them. However, they defeated the first group of monsters with ease, but they sensed that in the mines are more monsters. Ryoma suggested to attack the bat monsters with his sound bomb spell. Then Ryoma cast a spell that attacked the monsters with sonic waves. This spell fried the bats, causing Batman to lose all his friends, also allowing Ryoma to defeat all the monsters with a single attack, and he manages to prevent coronavirus in this world. Following, Ryoma summoned his sticky slimes and he ordered them to eat the bats. After all the bats were absorbed, they decided to return to the guildmaster. Outside of the mine they learned that strong goblins were seen in the mines, which injured the second group of adventurers. Following, the adventurers went back into the mine, and they lured the dangerous goblins. Mia was able to lure the goblins into one of Ryoma's Fortnite traps. So the goblins were dissolved in the whole trap with acid, and some goblins who survived were defeated by Ryoma and the others with magic or poison darts. However, everyone did their best, and the goblins who escaped from Clash Royale had no chance against Ryoma and his friends. At the same time, the girls were in the middle of the mine and they played Goblin Slayer. Ryoma and his friends defeated many goblins, but they realized that their arrows were running out. Besides, more and more goblins are spawning, causing them difficulties. So Ryoma tried to come up with a plan, while the number of injuries kept increasing. Sometime later, the goblins got the upper hand and Ryoma came up with a plan to defeat all at once. Ryoma summoned over 4,000 slimes and the slimes surrounded the strong goblins. Suddenly he used his sound bomb spell, and he manages to make the goblins unable to move. Then he ordered his slimes to fight against the goblins. Ryoma was able to defeat many goblins, and he created a chance for the adventurers to win this battle. Guildmaster Worgen ordered everyone to support Ryoma, and they were highly motivated to defeat the goblins. As a result, Ryoma and his slimes managed to kill all of the goblins. As they were about to celebrate their victory, the goblin leader appeared. The ugly giant goblin boss thought he is Conor McGregor, and it acted like a gang boss with some hobgoblins as his backup. Ryoma immediately ordered his slimes to attack, and they managed to win against all the strong goblins. After their fight, The slimes dissolve the goblin's remains, and Ryoma tells his friends to stand around him. Suddenly, Ryoma orders his cleaner slimes to eat their clothes, hoping to see his friends naked, but his slimes only dissolved the dirt. However, Ryoma learned that goblin dirt is hard to clean, while Mia praised Ryoma. When Ryoma went outside, Lapin tells him that some of his slimes are evolved to healing slimes and got the skill High Heal. After that, all the adventurers showed up and thanked Ryoma for his help. On the way back, the other adventurers learned that the healing slimes only drink water and use photosynthesis to get their nutrients. They also learned that heal slimes are very weak. After a while, Ryoma talks with his fruity friend Jeff, and Ryoma remembered his time alone in the forest. He was glad to have met the Jamil family, because without them, he wouldn't have been able to meet so many nice people. Next, we see Ryoma was dropped off, while Mia cheered him up to start his own laundry. Ryoma thinks about it, so he tells the Jamil family about his plan. Ryoma decides to start a business to become richer than Kylie Jenner, and wanted to create an own cryptocurrency like the Hawk Tuah girl. Suddenly, Eliaria asks Ryoma why he plans to move out, so Ryoma replies he was grateful for everything they did for him, but he feels to be a burden to their family for always taking care of him. Eliaria was very sad, while Elise understood Ryoma's feeling, so Elise accepted Ryoma's decision. Reinhardt and Reinbach tells him that they had already sensed his desire to be an entrepreneur, because he was very mature for his age. Then the Jamil family said they would allow him to become a top G, so they made conditions for Ryoma that he should write letters to the Jamil family regularly, and also come visit them often. Also, if he needs some help, Ryoma should contact them immediately. Next, Eliaria tells Ryoma they won't see each other for 3 years, because she needs to go to school. So Ryoma should keep her promise to clap her cheeks before she enrolls in the Magic Academy. After their conversation, Elise said that until their family leaves Tilted Towers, Ryoma should stay in this mansion. He didn't want to bother them, but Elise remained stubborn, and Ryoma accepted the condition because of the chance to clapping Elise's cheeks too. Also, Ryoma asks them how long they would stay in Tilted Towers. This is how Ryoma found out about some shiny Pokemon called Grell frogs. These ugly-looking frogs are used for medicine or armor for adventuring. Reinbach said they only appear at certain times of the year. Ryoma thinks the Jamil family wants to capture some Grell frogs, but Reinbach replies they were targeting the Lemuran birds since they appear at the same time as the disgusting frogs. After that, Reinhardt asked about Ryoma's plan to start his own business. Ryoma replies that he wants to continue doing quests as an adventurer to get some money for opening a laundry with his cleaner slimes. The servants listened to their conversation, and they were convinced that Ryoma's idea with his laundry would be a complete success. Reinbach wanted to support Ryoma, and he decided to ask Merchant Serge for help, and giving Ryoma advice. Suddenly, Reinhardt asked Ryoma for a favor, and gave him the task of checking the mines from time to time to prevent the appearance of monsters. The next day, Ryoma visited Serge, and he asked for advice to open his laundry. Serge was impressed with his cleaner slimes, and he saw a bright future for Ryoma's business. Serge recommended Ryoma to register into the Merchant Guild, who can support him. However, Serge wanted to introduce Ryoma to the Merchants Guild, and the fat ugly old man is very excited to see Ryoma starts his first business. Following this, he meets Jalessa, and she was informed about Ryoma's business plan. She liked his idea to open a laundry with his rare cleaner slimes. Because of this, she helped Ryoma with the paperwork, and she showed Ryoma a cheap place to build a store, so he doesn't need to start dropshipping. A few moments later, we see Ryoma in the town, who was surprised after finding a perfect location for his laundry. He tells Eliaria about his decision to buy this place to become the next Starbucks in this world, while Serge offered him to take care of the paperwork for a small fee. Also, Serge suggested that Ryoma should hire employees for his shop. Suddenly, Ryoma tells Serge that he haven't enough knowledge about to build a business. As a result, Serge wanted to introduce him experienced managers who can help him with his business. In the days that followed, the construction work begins. He used his slimes and immediately set up the foundation of his laundry. Ryoma's slime worked day and night, so Ryoma almost managed to finish his laundry in just a few days. The Knights of the Jamil family also helped Ryoma, and Ryoma felt bad about taking advantage of them, but Hughes replied that they are friends. The next day, Mia and the other adventurers also showed up and they painted the walls. Mia said she was proud of Ryoma, and the adventurers were excited and couldn't wait for the opening of Ryoma's first business. Then Waylana said that they will all be regular customers of his laundry, and Ryoma thanked them in advance. A few days later his shop was completed and he named it Bamboo Forest because he knew this name is perfect for a future top G. Meanwhile, Eliaria was worried that Ryoma was working too much. Ryoma replied that he is used to it, so he didn't mind. Besides, Ryoma said that he used to make Barbies, and he wanted to give her a self-made Barbie in the future. Ryoma wanted to do a party to thank all his friends who helped him so much. Suddenly Ryoma decides to visit the gods, so Ryoma went to the church and his soul was transferred to heaven. However, Kufo greeted Ryoma and wondered why Kufo is alone. Kufo tells Ryoma that Lulu is shopping on Earth, and Gain enjoyed himself at an idol concert. Ryoma is surprised, and Kufo tells him about his own hobbies. So Ryoma learned that Kufo did many dangerous adventures on Earth. Then the time was up and Ryoma went home, while he was already looking forward to his party. The next day Ryoma invited all of his friends to his party and everyone was looking forward to it. Then we see Serge, who was in a carriage with two people, while they were curious after seeing some slimes, and an ugly sign with Bamboo Forest. In the meantime, Ryoma and Eliaria were cooking some smash burgers for their party, while some OnlyFans chicks helped them. They looked forward to serve everyone tasty meat but no Diddy. Following, Eliaria said that Serge had arrived at his laundry with the new employees. The two twins were surprised after learning that the shop owner is an ugly 11-year-old little boy. Serge tells them that Ryoma is very mature for his age and he knows how to make business. Following, Ryoma appeared and Serge congratulated Ryoma for completing his laundry. Ryoma was introduced to Carla and Callum. He thinks that they both are girls, but Callum explained he is a ladyboy. Meanwhile, Serge tells him the twins are very young but already have a lot of experience. Next, Ryoma plans to show them how his laundry works, so Ryoma starts to teach them their task in his laundry. However, they learned that the dirty laundry are packed in a bag, while the customer gets a claim check. After this, the bags with the dirty laundry are cleaned by his slimes. Callum and Carla were curious about the cleaner slimes, so Ryoma showed them the room of his slimes. The slimes were working and the twins were surprised to see so many slimes. However, Ryoma explains them that his slimes could remove any dirt, and they realizes that Ryoma is a genius because of his idea to use an army of slimes to build a business. Also, they both immediately understood the process of his laundry, while Ryoma notices that the two already have a lot of professional experience, which helps him to become the top G of this town. At the end, the two learned that Ryoma even provides a house for the employees. This surprises them, and Ryoma tells them they can choose their room. A few moments later, Mia and his friends showed up to pick him up to his party. Ryoma's party starts and they are served all the tasty recipes, which Ryoma learned from an ugly chef named Jamie Oliver. Suddenly, Ryoma wanted to give a speech and he was nervous. Ryoma starts his speech and Mia is very proud of Ryoma for having so much aura. Also, he thanked his friends for coming to his store and he wished everyone a lot of fun at the party. Then Worgen and Jalessa talked to each other, and Jalessa said that Ryoma has a great future with his laundry store. However, the party is a huge success, and Ryoma asked the Jamils if they like his homemade cooking. Ryoma was nervous because the Jamil family are nobles, who are always served expensive food. But Reinhardt replies to Ryoma that expensive doesn't always mean delicious. Meanwhile, Mia and Jeff loved Ryoma's dishes and couldn't get enough. A few moments later, Eliaria appeared with the dessert and everyone was excited to taste it. When the party was over, Ryoma thanked Carla and Callum for their help. He feared that Carla and Callum might not want to work for a little boy. Suddenly they said that they would love to work with Ryoma, so Ryoma was looking forward to build a laundry franchise. While talking with them, Ryoma realized that they thinks he is a noble, because of his circumstances to live with the Jamil family in a mansion. However, Ryoma explained the misunderstanding and said that he is just a normal adventurer with an aura of a Riz god. The next morning, Ryoma's first business day begins, while Callum and Carla appeared for their first shift. They were cleaning the store for the opening and Eliaria helped his ugly boyfriend. After the preparations are done, Ryoma plans to visit the guilds to let them know that his laundry is open. Eliaria left too. She had magic classes, so she wished him good luck with his business. Later on, we see Ryoma in the guild house and the adventurers already know about the opening of Ryoma's laundry. They plan to stop by Ryoma's laundry on their way home, and Ryoma was told that Mia and Walana helped to advertise his business. Followed, the adventurers went to work, and Ryoma also accepted a quest. But before setting off to his quest, he clapped Maylen her cheeks. Next, he went to the mines to dig some gold because of his habit as a gold digger. Also, he defeated many monsters, while his slimes gathered herbs for his quest. When he returned to his laundry, he realized that his business is a success. Ryoma couldn't get through them, so he teleports him inside his laundry, while many customers were happy with the service of Bamboo Forest. However, Ryoma's slimes cleaned the customers' laundry, and they managed to keep all customers satisfied, because of the slimes, which also offers for men a happy ending. Suddenly, Ryoma noticed that his employees didn't have a break the whole day. Also, Ryoma made a plan for good working conditions. Following this, Ryoma went to the Merchants Guild. Jalessa already expected his business to be successful, and she took care of hiring more employees for his laundry. After that, the Jamil family found out about his great business day, and they were happy for Ryoma. After their conversation, Ryoma went to his room while Eliaria wished him sweet dreams. When Ryoma was laying in his bed, he remembered the work of his old life. Back then, Ryoma would never have imagined that working would be so much fun. The following day, Ryoma's laundry was full again and there was a long queue in front of the store. However, all women are shocked after seeing that all stains were cleaned, and Ryoma tells his managers that he is going to the Merchant Guild to talk about business. Following this, Ryoma visits Jalessa and she wants to introduce him to some qualified candidates for his business. The applicants meet Ryoma and they think Jalessa is tripping after learning that Ryoma is a little boy with a small wiener. Meanwhile, Ryoma introduces himself saying that he is the owner of Bamboo Forest. He also reveals that he uses slimes to make the laundry clean, and people who didn't want to work for him can reject his job offer. Many of the applicants were insecure about working for a little boy, and they didn't like the slime monsters either. As a result, most of them left and 2 people agreed to work for Ryoma. This is how Faye and his daughter Ling Ling introduced themselves. Suddenly, Faye showed Ryoma his injured leg after his fight against the dragon warrior, and asked if he could work at Ryoma's laundry despite his leg. Ryoma had no problem with it, and he wondered if his heel slimes could heal Jackie Chan's brother. Next, Ryoma tells them that they have dormitories for the employees, and Ryoma notices that they aren't ordinary people. Suddenly, Ryoma asked why they have weapons with them. Faye replies they used to work as assassins in their past, but they plan to change their life. Jalessa knew about their previous jobs, and she assured Ryoma that they are both very nice people. After this, Ling Ling shared their story that their master lost the war, so they worked in the mines, but Ling Ling's father broke his leg so they could no longer work there either. However, the 2 were hired and they were very grateful for his job offer. Ryoma also asked the 2 if they could also take care of the security of his laundry business. A few moments later, Ryoma shows Faye and Ling Ling his famous laundry. They loved his store and they were looking forward to help Ryoma become the richest guy in this town. Ryoma then introduced his new employees Faye and Ling Ling to the twins. Following, they learned about all of the tasks of a laundry, and Ling Ling was surprised at the number of slimes. Ling Ling and her dad quickly got used to their new job and had a lot of fun. This is how the first day ended, and Ryoma found out that they had many customers on the second day. After that, Carla and Callum should take over the finances of his laundry, and Ryoma wanted to treat Faye's injury, so they followed Ryoma to another room, and Ryoma summoned his slimes out of his dimension home. Following this, Faye's broken leg was healed by Ryoma's slimes. Faye was glad he could walk again, and Ling Ling was happy too. They both think Ryoma is a slime god and thanked him, because such a treatment is usually very expensive. Suddenly, Ling Ling tells him that the working conditions in their home country China was terrible, because in the Temu factory they had to work 20 hours a day, so they were glad to have met such a nice boss. Next, Ryoma showed them their new home, and they were very happy with their rooms. Before the day ended, Ryoma went to his laundry, and he was surprised after learning about their earnings. Carla and Callum tell him that his business is a great success, so they tried to persuade Ryoma to start considering about opening more laundries in other towns, because this is his chance to become bigger than McDonald's. Ryoma thinks about it, but before he said that Ling Ling and Faye are also responsible for the safety of the laundry. Because of this, he also raised their salary. The following morning, Ryoma was on his way to his laundry, while Eliaria said sorry for not able to help him with his business. He learned she was busy with learning for the entrance exam. Then we see Ryoma's laundry, and his employees are working diligently together with the slimes. Meanwhile, Ryoma baked a pizza, and he served his employees his self-made Domino's pizza during the breaks. They find his pizza very tasty, but Ryoma doesn't tell him that he nutted on the pizza instead of putting mozzarella on top. After that we see Mia and the other adventurers. They were enjoying their time because they ordered a Thai massage with a happy ending from Ryoma. Not only did they get a massage, but Ryoma also clapped their cheeks. At the end of the day, Ryoma learns his earnings doubled again. Also he found out that they gained many new customers too. Because his business was booming, Ryoma planned to hire more employees to make more money. Also he plans to hire a chef for the employees as a reward for their hard work. Following this, Ryoma visits the Merchants Guild, and he told Jalessa that he needs more employees and also a chef with huge melons. Jalessa was amazed that Ryoma had created such great working conditions in his business, and replies that she will take care of it. The next day Ryoma met 3 stupid bitches and they were impressed by Ryoma for having a successful business at such a young age. Then he sees Chef Selma and he is shocked because he wanted a OnlyFans chick as chef. Despite this, Ryoma was looking forward to their future working relationship. Suddenly Jalessa gave him the advice that Ryoma should open a second laundry too, because she believes he can become the next Bill Gates with his laundry. In the days that followed, the new employees got to know their daily routine, and Ryoma got used to running his own business. Ryoma became a top G with his laundry idea and he considered opening another store. Then we see the family Jamil watching Ryoma working very hard for his passion, so they were very proud of him for running a successful laundry business on his own. The next morning Ryoma visits fat ugly Big Mac eating Serge, and Serge congratulated him for his successful first business. Suddenly Serge asks if Ryoma could produce waterproof garments, so they can beat Nike with their clothing brand. Besides, Serge tells Ryoma that the Grell Frog season will start soon, and this is the chance to make 7 figures with waterproof clothing. Hearing these words, Ryoma decides to do this, because it would be supporting the adventurers. However, Ryoma replies that he will order his sticky slimes to produce waterproof garments, while Serge was looking forward to it. In the afternoon, Rizgod Ryoma plans to pop Eliaria's cherries, but one of his slime was hungry, so Ryoma's plan failed. However, he wants to become a great Pokemon trainer, so he brought his ugly slime some food. Following this, Eliaria learned that Ryoma is trying to evolve it to a Pikachu by feeding it iron powder. Also, Ryoma tells her that he plans to produce the waterproof fabrics later in the abandoned mine. Later, Eliaria accompanied Ryoma to the mine and she practices violin, while Ryoma learned that the Limur birds like Chinese restaurant music, which makes it easier to tame them. Following, Eliaria played on her violin while Ryoma and all of his slimes were enjoying it. However, with the help of his slimes, Ryoma crafted waterproof fabrics. After some time, the work was complete, and the fabrics were left out to dry. Meanwhile, Eliaria had also finished her practice. Wanting to surprise her, Ryoma decided to make her a doll. Using his magic, he shaped clay into a figure, carefully crafting a homemade doll that resembled Eliaria. She was delighted by Ryoma's thoughtful gift. When they returned home, Ryoma showed them the Barbies that he had created that looks exactly like the Jamil family. Everyone was amazed by Ryoma's talent, and Eliaria's parents told her to take dolls to her new school as a lucky charm. Eliaria replies she likes the idea and she asks Ryoma to create one that looks like a Rizgod. The next morning, Ryoma was at his laundry, and his shop had many customers. He then went back to the Gimmul mine to make more waterproof garms. Then he decided to teach his slimes combat training. This is how the slimes learned to fight, and he also trained with his huge king slime. While fighting against his giant poop slime, he was cooking and almost isekai'd his slime into another world. Next, he checked the slime stats and realized that they are much stronger than a legendary Pokemon. While checking all of their attack level, one of them evolved, but it wasn't a Pikachu, instead it's evolved to a boring iron slime. Followed, Ryoma wonders why the slime evolved into a different type of slime. So he analyzed the iron sands, and he understood the reason why he didn't evolve to a metal slime. In the evening we see Ryoma in his laundry and Fiona showed up. And she tells him that his cleaner slimes are amazing. Suddenly they multiplied and she was surprised by this. After that, his employees wanted to show Ryoma the sales, because Ryoma's profit has tripled compared to yesterday. The twins Carla and Callum reported that many companies have recommended his laundry. The other employees also say that all the customers loved his cleaning service and Ryoma thanked them all for their good work. Ryoma then asked if they were happy to work in the bamboo forest. Everyone agreed that Ryoma is a great boss, and Ryoma remarked that he forgot to give his employees days off. He was afraid that his employees would overwork themselves. Followed, they were happy about the days off, because in this world many employers are evil who only try to exploit their workers. Ryoma was shocked that there were bad employers in this world too, and he wanted to treat his employees well. The following day, Ryoma visited the Adventurers Guild, and Mei-len congratulated him on his great success with his laundry. However, Ryoma learned that a group of adventurers from another city caught a rare slime. They wanted to sell the rare slime, but nobody was interested in buying the slime. Mei-len told Ryoma about the whereabouts of the adventurer group, so he found the adventurers in a bar, while the group tried to forget their frustration with a lot of booze. Following, Ryoma introduced himself to them, and one of them was in a bad mood. Ryoma knew about their problem, and the drunk loser adventurer thought that Ryoma was looking down on them. Suddenly he started crying because they traveled to Gimmul from a faraway city, and thought they could become rich after selling the shiny slime. However, Shin, the leader of the group, apologized to Ryoma for his friend's rude behavior. Afterwards, Ryoma said that he would like to buy the rare slime since he is a slime tamer. Following, Ryoma brought a jar and he discovers the weird-looking slime. He realizes it was different from his previously tamed slimes. Ryoma was interested, and the adventurers were delighted with the news. Next, Ryoma plans to pay them a lot for the slime, and Kai asks him if he is sure to pay them 2 bitcoins for a stupid slime. Ryoma replies that he is a successful entrepreneur, so 2 bitcoins is nothing. Also, Ryoma tells them that they will soon be able to earn a lot of money by catching the grell frogs. Besides, Ryoma proved that he is a top businessman, and he offered them to visit his laundry. After the conversation, Ryoma teleports to the entrance of the Gimmul mine, and he looked at his new slime's abilities. He now had a bloody slime, and learned that this slime was very good at sucking. However, he watches his slime suck some blood from a dead Pokemon, and wonders if his new D's Nut slime could teach it Eliaria. The following days, Ryoma was chilling in his laundry with his goal to become the next Elon Musk. Besides, he made a Rizgod doll for Eliaria that looks exactly like himself. Then we see the gods. They were watching the Ryoma show at the God Realm, and they were very glad that Ryoma was enjoying his new Isekai life. While seeing Ryoma having fun, Gain choked on his bubble tea and almost isekai'd himself to another world. Some days later, Ryoma looked at a book about the grell frogs. Eliaria tells him that her mom and dad plan to teach her new monster taming skills, so she offered Ryoma to accompany her. The next day, near the Gimmul mine, Reinhardt and Elise plan to teach Ryoma and Eliaria cheat skills to tame an useless Magikarp. However, Elise asks them how much they know about monster taming, and explains that taming skills are just a way to borrow the powers of the tamed monsters. At the same time, they can communicate with them by using magic. Regarding this, she plans to teach them magic to share senses with their tamed monster. However, Ryoma learns more about the spell Shared Sensation, while Reinhardt tells them this spell is very difficult to learn, so they should practice with some pigeons. Suddenly, Eliaria asks if she can practice with the slimes, but she was told that slimes are unsuitable as they cannot taste, see, or smell. Next, Ryoma and Eliaria tamed 2 flying-type Pokemon. After managing to tame them, they should try to create a connection, so Ryoma sharpened his senses and manages to see through the pigeon. Ryoma was cooking, and Reinhardt gave him some advice. A few moments later, he learned that no one could tame all types of monsters. Elise tells him that everyone can only tame monsters for which the body are suitable. So Ryoma learned that he was able to tame so many slimes because he have the affinity for slimes after watching many hours of corn videos in his previous life. While talking about this, he learned that Reinbach's suit to tame monsters with scales, and Reinhardt said that he can tame almost all monsters with 4 legs, but he can't enter a contract with a stupid pigeon. Suddenly, Elise reveals her monster type and she summons a Fenrir. Ryoma thinks the Fenrir is an enemy and almost killed it. However, he learns Elise is able to tame wolf-type monsters. Ryoma was impressed by Elise and she tells her that she had tamed more than 20 legendary Fenrirs. Following, Reinhardt said that his wife is very talented because Fenrirs are SSS rank monsters. This causes Reinhardt to feel inferior because he was just average compared to his father and Elise. Then Eliaria wondered what Ryoma was thinking. Suddenly, Elise said that Reinbach is much more impressive because he tamed a group of dragons. Reinbach said he was just lucky and his first monster was a dragon leader. Then Elise said that her Fenrir's lives in the woods, and Reinhardt explained to Ryoma that it is difficult for strong monsters to find a suitable place to live. A few days later, we see Ryoma making more waterproof fabrics, and he sent his drop shipping product to Surge. Following, he went to the Adventurers Guild, and his friends were looking forward to the Grell Frog season. They said that they can use the monster's materials to craft valuable medicine and equipment. They then had a question for Ryoma because they wanted to know about his work clothes. Walana and Manolia wanted to avoid getting their clothes dirty, so Ryoma replied that the company Morgan sells work clothes. In the evening, Ryoma was told about the Jamil family's plan to go to the lake because Eliaria wants to tame a lemur bird. Ryoma was excited, so he practiced with his guitar and he was planning to catch a lemur bird too. Suddenly he realized that after their trip Eliaria had to go to school and he was a little bit sad about this. 2 days later, Ryoma and the Jamil family were on their way to the lake. Eliaria was tired and she was impressed by Ryoma for having so much energy. The knight said that Eliaria is holding up well too, and that Ryoma is just special. Then Ryoma met Shin and his adventurer group. Ryoma wanted to talk to them a bit more, and Shin thanked him. Suddenly Shin's friend apologized to Ryoma because he was ashamed of having bothered him when he was drunk. He also thanked Ryoma for his advice on making money with the Grell frogs too. Ryoma was happy, and Shin and his group wanted to visit his laundry after their quest. Then he ran to the lake and they watched the beautiful lemur birds fly at the sky. The birds chased the frogs and Ryoma also discovered his friends. They also put a lot of effort into catching the Grell frogs to make a lot of money. Suddenly, Reinhardt discovers an ugly dude trying to tame a lemur bird. This ugly loser who needs a haircut played with his flute very bad, while Ryoma wonders if the birds are more of a Tupac or Pop Smoke fan. Besides, he learns that if the birds doesn't like the music, they are making a warning sound. Then we see the guy failing, which makes him angry, so he tried to attack the birds out of frustration. However, the lemur birds fought back with wind blades and the adventurer tried to escape. The lemur birds didn't let it slide and tried to kill him with very strong spells, but Ryoma managed to create a wall in time. Suddenly, the lemur birds let out a cry and all suffered excruciating pain. Ryoma was overpowered so it doesn't cause any damage on his body, while he sensed that a single lemur bird is attacking with the weird Pokemon attack. Next, Ryoma used his magic to isolate the special bird, and he managed to contain the noise in a room. The birds then flew away, and Reinhardt ordered Camille to help the injured adventurers. Afterwards they thanked Ryoma for saving them all, and Ryoma wanted to know what happened. Reinbach explained to Ryoma that the expelled bird was a powerful nightmare lemur bird. This bird is very rare, which could also use dark magic. Afterwards, all adventurers received medical treatment, but unfortunately, all lemur birds had disappeared. Eliaria wanted to catch a lemur bird, and she decided to wait for their return. We then see Ryoma's laundry workers diligently going about their tasks while waiting for dinner. At the same time, Ling Ling praised the cleaner slimes for their excellent work. Meanwhile, Ryoma waited alongside Eliaria for the lemur birds to return. Suddenly, Eliaria expressed her sadness, saying they wouldn't be able to see each other much longer. Ryoma was unsure how to respond to her heartfelt words. Suddenly, Elise appears behind them and notices the bad mood between the two. She tells Eliaria that she shouldn't be sad because she can visit Ryoma anytime during her school holidays. Just then, Riz Master Hughes tells Ryoma a secret, and he gives Ryoma the advice to clap her cheeks. Ryoma, still inexperienced with girls, was flustered, while Reinhardt is shocked that Hughes gives Ryoma the advice to clap his daughter's cheeks. Hughes teased Ryoma by dramatically kissing a tree, prompting Ryoma to knock him out in embarrassment. At the same time, Eliaria overheard their conversation and blushed. Soon after, the lemur birds returned. Ryoma stepped back, not wanting to startle them, but Eliaria asked him to stay, saying his presence gave her courage. Eliaria then began her concert for the gathered lemur birds. She played a beautiful melody, her own composition, and the birds were drawn to the soothing sound. Everyone was amazed by her performance, enjoying the peaceful music together. As the lemur birds approached, Ryoma wished Eliaria luck in taming them. However, she succeeded in taming a group of lemur birds and was overjoyed. Inspired from her performance, Ryoma decided to try taming some birds himself, using his guitar. As he played, the lemur birds listened intently. Even Hughes was moved to tears by the beauty of Ryoma's music. Eventually, a group of lemur birds approached Ryoma, including a rare nightmare lemur bird that seemed to enjoy his melody. Ryoma successfully tamed them and was happy to have new friends. Eliaria and the others congratulated him, proud of his achievement. Everyone was happy that both Ryoma and Eliaria had managed to tame such powerful creatures. Then Sabas noticed something unusual, because Eliaria had tamed a shiny Limur bird. It turned out to be a rare phantom Limur bird with a light affinity, making her success even more remarkable. Afterward, everyone returned to the mansion, where they held a celebration in honor of Eliaria and Ryoma's success in taming the Limur birds. During the party, Eliaria played a song for everyone to enjoy. Later that evening, Ryoma and Eliaria spent some time in his bedroom. However, the mood shifted when Eliaria became sad. Ryoma learned that in noble families, children must begin their formal education when they turn 12. Eliaria admitted she was nervous about going. She feared she wouldn't make friends, as the other students, mostly commoners, were often intimidated by her powerful magic. She shared a painful memory from her childhood. When she was 5, her uncontrollable magic injured a boy, and since then, he'd been afraid of her. She worried Ryoma would feel the same after hearing her story. But Ryoma reassured her with kindness and honesty. He told her he wasn't afraid of her, and that he understood what it was like to be different. Touched by his words, Eliaria promised she would never be afraid of him either. Wanting to give Ryoma a parting gift, Eliaria showed him a beautiful magic necklace. At first, Ryoma hesitated to accept such an expensive gift, but Eliaria insisted. She told him the necklace would serve as a reminder of the promise they made. In return, Ryoma wanted to give her something special too. He gifted her 2 of his slimes, a cleaner slime and a scavenger slime. Eliaria was overjoyed by the thoughtful present. The next morning, the Jamil family prepared to leave for the next town. The servants warmly encouraged Ryoma to visit them often and reminded him to eat plenty of vegetables. Ryoma said goodbye to the Jamil family, and they all asked him to write many letters to them regularly. Eliaria, clearly sad to part ways, asked Ryoma to stop speaking so formally with her. She told him he could simply call her Elia from now on. Before they parted, she promised to study hard and grow into a great wife. As Ryoma watched them leave, he already found himself missing Elia and her warm, caring family. But he looked forward with hope, holding on to the memories they'd shared and the promise of meeting again. After saying goodbye to the Jamil family, many days passed. We see Ryoma running a successful business with his laundry. Ryoma slowly became known as the top G of laundry in the city of Gimmul. Then, he went to his bamboo forest laundry. Ryoma looked after his kind employees, who took good care of his business. All his slimes worked very hard, and Ryoma realized that he would soon be richer than Mr. Krabs. Later, Ryoma was admonished by Carla for working too much. She said that he should take care of himself and schedule time for his own well-being. Ryoma also learned that the new employees had little work experience. He was surprised to hear that, and decided to let his employees do more work in the future. Suddenly, they heard loud noises and wondered what had happened. When they went to investigate, they discovered Ling Ling tying up 2 ugly men. However, he learned about some losers trying to cause trouble. The men complained that their laundry was dirty, they showed their clean clothes, and the customers laughed at them. The scammers became aggressive, so Ling Ling tied them up. Meanwhile, Ryoma looked at a window and he had an idea to increase the security of his laundry. Following this, Ryoma went into the Gimmul mine and he used the support of his sticky slimes. His sticky slimes filled a container with slime, and Ryoma magically drained the water content several times. As a result, Ryoma created a bulletproof glass pane, protecting him from a drive-by attack. Then, Ryoma used his sticky slimes to create more glass panes. A few moments later, Ryoma realized that one of his Pokémon evolved. He learned that he had received a medicine slime. Ryoma wondered why a poison slime had evolved, then remembered dropping medicine the day before. One of his slimes drank the medicine and transformed into a new type of slime. Ryoma then fed more poison slimes with medicine. His new slime showed him how to produce medicine. Ryoma was amazed that his slime could produce high-quality medicine. He took a closer look and realized he had also gotten disinfectant. As a result, Ryoma was prepared for the next corona wave. After that, Ryoma decided to visit the gods, since he hadn't seen them in a long time. Later, we see Ryoma in the church, where he went to the magic crystal ball. Ryoma was sent to the realm of the gods and met an unknown god. This is how Ryoma got to know the god Tycoon, the god of crafts and trades. Ryoma discovered the dolls he made for his friend Eliaria. Tycoon liked his dolls and copied them. Afterwards, Ryoma told his story, that he had been teleported from Earth to the other world. Tycoon was impressed and wanted to learn Ryoma's crafts. He praised Ryoma for his great craftsmanship, and Ryoma told him more about his passion. Ryoma also learned that there are other gods. Additionally, he learned that the white space is connected to his world. Because of this connection, Ryoma can always visit the gods. He also found out about the god of magic and learning. He was a god who rarely shows himself, but Felnovalia is very smart and knows almost everything about this world. After that, Ryoma was sent back to his world. Back in the church, Ryoma said goodbye to the receptionist and decided to go to his laundry. When he arrived, Carla reported that there were no further problems at the laundry. Ryoma then talked about his bulletproof glass panes, because he didn't want criminals breaking in. Following this, Ryoma showed his bulletproof glass panes to his employee, Ling Ling, who tested breaking the glass pane. Meanwhile, Carla and Callum were impressed by the sturdiness of the glass. Faye then suggested to her daughter that she should try to destroy the glass pane with enhancement magic. Li Ling loved Ryoma's glass panes, but they had disadvantages. They couldn't escape from inside the laundry, so they decided not to replace all the windows. Afterwards, Ryoma remembers that he had a meeting with Serge, but Carla also wanted to talk to Ryoma about an important matter. She tells him that as top G, he should open a second laundry. Ryoma then met with Serge to start a new business. Serge tells him that he could ask the Merchants Guild for help to sell medicine. Because of this, Ryoma visits Jalessa to talk about selling medicine to make big banks. Next, he presented her with the medicine he had produced, and Jalessa was impressed that they could mix Sprite with it to create purple drink now. Suddenly, Jalessa also asked when Ryoma plans to open a second laundry. Besides, she said that the Merchant Guild will support him everywhere if he has troubles to set up. Later, Ryoma thought deeply about the second laundry, and he got a letter from his crush Eliaria. She reported that they had arrived safely in the capital. She told Ryoma that everyone was healthy and that she was taking good care of his slimes. Ryoma was happy to read her letter and felt encouraged. He decided to take the plunge and open a second laundry. In the days that followed, Ryoma showed his employees self-defense, so Ryoma was thrown with fruits. Ryoma tried to play Fruit Ninja and he realized his stick wasn't sharp enough to cut the fruits. Ryoma then showed Guildmaster Taylor of the Taming Guild his slimes. He thanked Ryoma for showing him his awesome cleaner slimes. Suddenly, an angry man was causing trouble in the laundry. He complained to Ryoma that his shirt was torn. Ryoma knew the customer was lying and he calls his cleaner slimes over to prove they're innocent. Then Ryoma revealed that his cleaner slimes don't have claws or teeth. As a result, Ryoma was able to uncover the lies of the scammer. Suddenly, he got angry when his lies were discovered, so the man tried to attack Ryoma. Ryoma is a top G and he knew how to treat a scammer. Following this, Ryoma displayed his monster power and overwhelmed the man. The scammer was later arrested and Carla thought it's suspicious that someone else had tried to cause problems again. Ryoma was worried about his laundry, but Carla said that Callum is trying to figure out the cause of the troublemakers. After that, Ryoma met his friend Asagi. He was happy to see Ryoma. Then Ryoma noticed Asagi's katana sword. Ryoma wanted to know more about his sword. Asagi then said that he can get the katana swords from the capital, but they are very expensive. Followed Asagi said he gets his sword for free from his family. Then Asagi asked if Ryoma can handle katana swords. However, Ryoma replied that his grandpa had taught him swordsmanship. In the afternoon, Ryoma decided to make his own katana sword. Ryoma then attempted to cast iron sand and charcoal into a sword blade, but he was unfamiliar with the manufacturing process. Suddenly he remembered that he have a spear, so he pulled the weapon out of his item box. Ryoma knew some technique to swing a spear, but he wanted a katana as his weapon. This is how he remembered his childhood, when Ryoma made weapons with his father. Also, he learned how to use many weapons. Ryoma then discovered a secret function of his spear, but he preferred a normal sword. The next day, Ryoma learned that his laundry problems were caused by a faction war against the Tamers Guild. Taylor wanted humans to coexist with monsters, but evil organizations tried to prevent it. However, Ryoma decides to help Taylor solve this annoying matter. In the evening, Ryoma checked on his new employees, who came from the Tamers Guild. They were slime researchers and were happy to work for Ryoma. Suddenly, Ryoma found out that their previous company treated them like scum, and the working conditions were unbearable. Ryoma was surprised that slime research wasn't really funded. Afterwards, Ryoma also learned that the slime researchers weren't able to evolve new types of slimes. Ryoma was a slime expert and he told them about the evolution of slimes. However, they are surprised that the slimes evolves into different types of slime by eating weird things. After learning this, Koken cried with joy and was glad that Ryoma had so much knowledge about slimes. Next, Ryoma was on his way home, but he was being followed by several men. Ryoma immediately ran away and he was attacked by one of them. Ryoma manages to dodge the attack with his Jackie Chan moves. Following this, Ryoma teleports to a rooftop and he summons his Limur birds from his home dimension spell. Then the criminals were attacked by Ryoma and he defeated them instantly. Following, Ryoma wanted to know the motives of their actions and a criminal tried to sneak attack Ryoma with a monster. Ryoma's Limur birds were able to protect him in time. Guildmaster Worgen then appeared and rushed to Ryoma's aid. As a result, the criminals were arrested by a group of knights. The next day, Ryoma told his employees about the criminals' deeds. Ryoma said that they should be more careful when nights fell on. After that, Ryoma met with the 3 guild masters, and Ryoma learned that an evil man gave the order to attack his laundry. Then Jalessa suggested Ryoma to use his power to lure the enemies into a trap. A few hours later, Ryoma went chasing the criminals like Batman, and he immediately caught a lot of criminals. Also, Ryoma cooperated with the knights and he healed the bandits after beating them up. The reason for this is Jalessa had the idea that Ryoma heals the injured with his slimes, so the criminals would have to pay for the medical expenses. This would cause them learn not to mess with top G Ryoma. Ryoma was a real hustler and got a big reward from a knight for his great help by fighting the criminals. In the days that followed, Ryoma practiced self-defense with the girls again. Also, Ryoma had a new security guard for his laundry. After that, there was lunch and Ryoma was amazed about the delicious bread. The girls were also happy about the delicious lunch and they all enjoyed the time together. Ryoma laughed with his friends and he was happy to have a good time with everyone. The next day, Carla showed him the profits of his laundry. The sales have doubled again, and Carla also said that the 3 slime researchers do a great job in his business. Afterwards, Ryoma visited Jalessa again and she showed him potential real estate for his second laundry. Following this, Ryoma received a letter from Eliaria. She told him that she is diligently preparing for her school and that she is making progress in using magic. She also thanked him again for teaching her the bubbly water spell. After that, we see Ryoma. He was ready to open his second laundry, and he went on a journey to another town. In the days that followed, Ryoma wrote a letter to his crush Eliaria. Eliaria learned that Ryoma will open a second laundry. She was impressed by Ryoma. Meanwhile, Ryoma arrived in a new town. Ryoma was amazed by the beautiful town Lenov. Ryoma had a letter from Jalessa. She sent him to see a person named Piora Sayonji. Then Ryoma discovered the merchant company Sayonji. Ryoma was impressed with Piora's business. Suddenly Miyabi talked to him and asked if she could help him. So Ryoma tells her that he is looking for a guy named Piora, while she replies that Piora is her father. Out of nowhere, Piora appeared and he was teasing his daughter, asking her if she was rizzed up by Ryoma. Ryoma then introduced himself and showed Piora his letter. So Piora said he will help him to open his second laundry in their town. Miyabi was shocked and couldn't believe that a little boy was owning a successful business. Then Miyabi found out that Ryoma is a year younger than her. She was amazed, but apologized for her rude reaction. Followed, Ryoma was looking forward to their time together, and Piora teased his daughter a bit again. After that, Ryoma learned that Piora is a great businessman who has a great sense of humor. Later, he led Ryoma to the guild. He said on the way to the guild that he already took care of most of the paperwork for him. Ryoma was very grateful that all he had to do was sign and read the contracts. Then Ryoma was amazed because the merchant guild was looking like the Harry Potter school. So Piora tells his new friend that the Merchants Guild is a fortress. In addition, Piora told that all the guilds of the city are gathered in this fortress. Following this, Ryoma found out about a dragon guild, and Piora told him to look out the window. Ryoma was able to see many dragons and learned that the dragons can transport goods and people. Besides, Piora told him that all the guilds work together, and they make the whole city shine. Additionally, Piora said that one of his ancestors came up with the idea to create the airport system in this city. Ryoma was surprised that Piora's ancestor is also a reincarnated human from Earth. Next, Piora showed him his future real estate for his business. so Ryoma thanked him for his big help, while Piora immediately wanted to show him the rooms of his new laundry. Inside the building, Ryoma looked at the rooms and he planned to send a message to his managers. Followed then, Ryoma summoned his Limur bird and he flew to Gimmul with a letter. After that, Piora offered Ryoma to sleep at his house. He said that he can prepare himself for a delicious dinner. Ryoma was very happy because he had only eaten disgusting tasting provisions for several days. Next we see them eating dinner at Piora's home. Miyabi served miso soup with rice. Ryoma was surprised by the Japanese dishes, and he was happy that he could buy soy sauce too. After that, Ryoma started eating the Japanese dishes, and he enjoys the delicious food. Suddenly, Miyabi said that she is happy to see his childish side, because he behaves very grown-up towards others. Then Piora teased his daughter and said she could learn a lot from Ryoma. Then Ryoma found out that Miyabi had to go to school in the capital soon. After dinner, Ryoma told that he is an E-rank adventurer. He was planning to complete quests the next day. Miyabi and Piora then warned him that many strong D-rank monsters are currently causing problems. As a result, few E-rank adventurers are in town, and there are hardly any quests for E-rank adventurers. Ryoma then recalled that the gods told him about strong monsters. Also, Ryoma lived in the dangerous forest, and he used to fight against strong monsters. Suddenly Ryoma said that he would like to fight against some smash boars. Following, Piora was happy that he is motivated to fight against the monsters. The reason is Piora wanted to sell the meat of the smash boar. Then Miyabi was angry with her father for encouraging Ryoma to put himself in danger. Piora was lectured by his daughter, and he asked Ryoma for help. The next day, Miyabi accompanied him to get materials for his furniture. Later, Piora stopped by Ryoma's new property. He only saw slimes working for Ryoma. He was shocked, and his daughter was shocked too. Then the two asked what Ryoma is doing. They couldn't believe his slimes could build the furniture for him. In the afternoon, Ryoma went to do quests, and Miyabi told him to take care of himself. Next we see Ryoma. He was sad, as there are hardly any quests for E-rank adventurers at the moment. Then Ryoma collected many healing herbs, and his slimes were a big help because they found a lot of them. Suddenly, Eliaria's Limur bird appeared. She congratulated him on opening a second laundry. She also told her parents about his life. They were all happy that Ryoma is successful with his business. She then wished him good luck with his laundry, and also told him that he shouldn't overwork himself. After that, a huge smash boar appeared and it was chasing two adventurers. Then Ryoma was ready to fight against the giant smash boar. So Ryoma got his bows out of his item box. Then he attacks the smash boar with his arrows. The monster didn't take any damage and Ryoma wanted to beat up the smash boar alone. Ryoma then showed the smash boar his powerful martial arts skills. Ryoma mastered the Fist of Buddha, and he managed to defeat him with a strong power punch. The boar fell over, and Ryoma was relieved that he was able to defeat him with ease. After the fight, the two adventurers thanked Ryoma for rescuing them. The adventurers said they are both unharmed, but a friend of them is badly injured because of the smash boar. Ryoma tells them he can use healing magic and he plans to help them. While Ryoma waits for the two adventurers to return, Ryoma summons his bloody slime. He sucked up all the blood from the boar. His bloody slime was an expert at sucking, so he was done in just a moment. Ryoma was impressed by his slime. Then the adventurers returned, and Ryoma wanted to treat the injured woman with healing magic. His heal slime was very helpful, and he could heal her instantly with ease. The adventuress then thanked Ryoma. After that, the adventurers wanted to give Ryoma a reward for saving them. Also, they told him that he could sell the smash boar's materials at a high price. Ryoma wanted to share the reward for the boar's materials. Suddenly, the adventurers learned that he is just an E-rank adventurer. They were shocked and couldn't believe that he was able to defeat a smash boar as an E-rank adventurer. Next they returned to the guild and Piora was surprised at the defeated smash boar, while Miyabi was angry at Ryoma. The reason is she told him to avoid dangerous monsters who can hurt him badly. Then a worker from the Adventurers Guild showed up. He wanted to ask Ryoma about the monster accident. The other adventurers then explained what had happened in the forest. However, Ryoma was not punished for fighting a smash boar in self-defense. After that, Ryoma allowed Piora to buy all the meat from him. Suddenly, a worker noticed that the wild boar had bled dry. Ryoma explained to them that his bloody slime is good at sucking blood. So Piora was impressed by his slime. Followed, he begged Ryoma to give him his slime. Ryoma replied that he can't grant his wish, because he only has one bloody slime. Piora told him to split the slime in half, and Miyabi lectured her father for talking nonsense. In the days that followed, Ryoma reported that he had received all of the quest rewards. Then Piora showed up and asked if Ryoma had any ideas for new dishes. Miyabi was ashamed of her father, who only ever thought about making money. Then Ryoma said that he has ideas for a new dish, and Miyabi wanted to help Ryoma to cook the dish. So Ryoma started to be the next Jamie Oliver. First he cut the meat into small pieces and he chopped some vegetables. Then he starts to use his Chinese restaurant skills and made Mr. Chow's menu number 4. As a result, he made the dish pork with ginger that he knew from his old life. After doing the taste check, Miyabi thinks his dish is a flavor explosion. Miyabi praised Ryoma, and she said that he is a master chef. In the days that followed, Ryoma saw a large crowd. All people wanted to buy Ryoma's new dish. After that, we see Ryoma in his laundry. Then Carla showed up, bringing some of the workers from Gimmul. Ryoma also met his new employees and he introduced himself to them. Ryoma said that they can always ask him or Carla if they have questions. The new employees replied that they had already spent a trial day at his Gimmul laundry. Ryoma was happy that Carla had found great employees. Next, Ryoma and his employees advertise his laundry. So Ryoma showed everyone the bamboo power of his slimes. A few days later, Piora and Miyabi admired that Ryoma is so diligent. Piora said that Ryoma is a true top G and he will definitely get rich. Then Ryoma looked at his new laundry and he recalled the memories of his old life. He was happy that he had met so many new and nice people in his new life. He then opened his bamboo forest laundry and wrote a letter to the Jamil family. He said his second laundry is now open too and he's glad his laundry is a huge success. In the evening, he thanked his employees and wished everyone a nice evening. The next morning all employees were called to him. Ryoma wanted to say goodbye. All his employees said they will work hard and he should take care of himself. Then Miyabi also said goodbye to Ryoma. She wished him good luck to become more successful. Suddenly, Ryoma asked her for a favor. He wanted Miyabi to befriend Eliaria at school. So Ryoma said goodbye to his friends and he made his way back to the town of Gimmul. Then Ryoma received a letter from Eliaria. She told him that she has to go to school soon and she is currently practicing controlling many monsters as the same way like him. She also wished him continued to success. We then see Ryoma wanting to show Merchant Surge new goods that he found. Then Surge told him about his favorite hobby, to build cars like Fast and Furious. Ryoma saw a toy car that could move with magic. Surge said that the power source of the Hot Wheel is magic. Then Ryoma found out that a toy car race is held annually in the capital. Merchant Surge was a fanboy of Fast and Furious and he passionately showed Ryoma his collected components. He managed to pique Ryoma's interest and he wanted to hear more about the magical objects. A few days later, Ryoma learned that his cleaner slime had been eating charcoal in his absence. Callum apologized to Ryoma and was worried because he couldn't prevent it. This is how Callum learned that the slimes evolve after eating weird things. The following evening, Ryoma wrote Eliaria a letter. She was surprised about his cleaner slime ate charcoal, and she told him to report her more about the new ability if his slime evolved. She also wished him lots of fun exploring the magic item market. The next day, Ryoma told Callum that he was returning to his hometown for a while. Callum replied that he will continue to take care of his business in order to remain that Ryoma still be the top G of Gimmul. Then Callum learned that Ryoma's hometown is the Great Forest of Shoals. He was shocked, because only dangerous monsters lives in the forest, which only strong adventurers can defeat. Ryoma was surprised and told Callum that he wanted to rise in rank. Also, he wanted to go back to the forest to test his power against the monsters. In the afternoon, Ryoma visited the guild, and Maylen was happy to see Ryoma. Ryoma then asked her for advice, but a new employee had problems. Maylen immediately went to help the new employee because she was overwhelmed with the situation, so she sent the guys out to do their quests. Then Maylen wanted to introduce Ryoma to the new employee. That's how Ryoma found out that Palma is new here and he was pleased to meet her. Following this, Maylen asked Ryoma for a favor. As a result, Palma was allowed to take over Ryoma's case, so Ryoma told that he wants to increase his rank. He gave Palma a list of monsters. She looked at the list of monsters and Ryoma need quests with hunting the monsters on the list. Besides, Ryoma wanted some information about the monsters in the Great Forest. Maylen was worried about Ryoma, but he told them that he grew up there and he forgot to take important things from his previous home. Maylen understood his request to return to the dangerous forest. Palma then prepared the paperwork for Ryoma's quests. Then Maylen said that she finally understood why he is so strong. Palma then showed up with the contracts for rising his rank, and Ryoma immediately signed the papers. Maylen was happy for Ryoma that he had now signed all the contracts. However, Maylen plans to show him a very easy quest to rise up his rank. Palma said a customer ordered by using Amazon Prime, but Amazon wouldn't be deliver in time. So Palma said she thought Ryoma wanted to deliver the package, because he can use the item box spell. Ryoma accepted the package delivery to Caliban, because that's where the magic item market is held. 2 days later, Ryoma arrived in the town of Caliban, and Ryoma learned that 6 different magic item markets would be held tomorrow. He then delivered his package to a workshop. A man appeared and he learned that Ryoma was delivering his order. Damon thought his package wouldn't be delivered on time, and he thanked Ryoma. Following, he signed some papers while Ryoma wanted to leave, but Damon stopped him. He invited Ryoma for a cup of tea which he tasted. Ryoma thinks the tea is very tasty. Suddenly Merchant Serge showed up and Damon was very surprised that Ryoma was a good friend of Serge, while Ryoma tells Serge that he delivered a package to Damon for the guild. Ryoma then learned that his friend Serge was doing business with Damon. After that, Damon wanted to show Serge his finished projects, and he also offered Ryoma to see his finished treasures. So they went to the workshop and Damon showed his cars. Damon was a mechanic and he made the new AMG Maybach version. Ryoma was surprised that he can build cars. Suddenly, Ryoma spotted a G-Wagon that was worth several $100,000. Serge was surprised that he can repair a G-Wagon. Damon then revealed that he is currently saving money so he can buy his grandson a car in the future. Ryoma and Serge learned that his grandson might become the next Elon Musk and has the skills to build electric cars. After that, Ryoma received the self-made magic item built by Damon's grandson as a gift. Serge said that Ryoma should keep the device. Then Ryoma said that he still has to find a place to stay, because he wants to see the markets tomorrow. So Serge offered to show him a great inn, where he currently lives. Then we see Ryoma, he got a room in the same inn where Serge was living. Serge still had business to do, so they arranged to meet up for dinner. Meanwhile, Ryoma plans to build a Bitcoin miner. Suddenly, Serge came to pick him up for dinner. While eating, Ryoma learned that he wasn't smart enough to create a Bitcoin miner, but he managed to build a small music box. The music box was able to play Roddy Ricch's song. Serge was impressed by the song, The Box. He said that every person should listen to the song. Then Serge suggested that they should start a new business, and called it Jukebox. Suddenly dinner was brought and they got steak with some side dishes. After dinner, Ryoma took Serge for a walk and he said he could ask Damon to make the music boxes. Ryoma didn't want to cause problems for Damon. So Serge replied that Damon has 3 apprentices and he would be happy to earn more money. Just before his bedtime, Ryoma wrote a letter to Eliaria. He said that he made a music box and he will open a new business. The following morning the magic item markets opened and Ryoma looked around the town with Serge. They visited Damon together, who presented his new Hot Wheels and engine components. Then Damon's grandson wanted to meet Ryoma. Ryoma met little Elon and he wanted to play with Ryoma. Ryoma then played with him and he noticed that Elon was bored. So Ryoma wanted to build him a toy and he asked for permission to use a bucket. Also Ryoma was looking for some materials in his item box and he decided to build little Elon, one of the legendary Beyblade arenas. Meanwhile, Serge showed Damon the new invention of Ryoma. He was willing to mass-produce the music box for Ryoma. Then we see Ryoma, he showed Elon how to spin the Beyblades. Elon couldn't get the Beyblade to spin. So Damon showed his Beyblade skills and he said, "Let it rip." Ryoma was impressed, and Damon said that he is a big Beyblade fan. So Ryoma decided to give him and his grandson the Beyblade arena as a gift. Everyone was happy, and Ryoma reported to Eliaria about what was happening on the magic item markets. A few days later he arrived back in Gimmul, and he was happy to see his slimes. Ryoma wanted to go to sleep, but his cleaner slime evolved into a deodorant slime. Ryoma looked at the new abilities, and his new slime could absorb disgusting smells. The next day, Ryoma talked about his newly evolved slime, and his deodorant slime made juice that could absorb disgusting smells. He intended to use the bags in his laundry. Later, Ryoma was in the Gimmul mine and he produced food for his slimes. His metal and iron slimes then played with each other. Suddenly, an iron slime appeared and Ryoma got a great idea. He transformed his slime into a sword. So he tested the usefulness of his slime and Ryoma was able to successfully create a sharp sword. The next day at the laundry, Callum said he should sleep more and do a break when he experiment with his slimes. Callum worried about Ryoma's health. Suddenly Mia appeared. She had problems with the new smells absorbing bag. Ryoma realized that maximum absorption capacity had been reached. So Ryoma replied that he will bring her new absorbents later. Mia thanked him and wished him every success in the production of the miracle cure that could absorb disgusting smells. After that, Ryoma saw that other children had a problem. Ryoma wanted to help them and he offered to fix their cart. Ryoma then ordered his sticky slime to repair the cart. The kids were impressed that Ryoma is the same age and is a monster tamer. Ryoma learned that they are children from the slums and they can earn some money through the G-rank quest. Then Beck thought that Ryoma was looking down on them. But Ryoma cleared up the misunderstanding and he gave them a magic item to prevent the smell of the garbage. Next, Beck wanted to pay him back for his help with the garbage smell, so he led Ryoma to the church. They were allowed to clean the church once a month. As a reward, they get delicious candies from the guild. Suddenly he was summoned to the gods and he got to know a new god. Ryoma wanted to introduce himself but Felnovalia already knew that his name is Ryoma. He found Ryoma very interesting and Ryoma remembered that God Tekken told him about Felnovalia last time. Subsequently, Ryoma was asked about Japan and his hobbies. Ryoma wanted to answer his questions, but Felnovalia tested Ryoma. Felnovalia felt that he isn't lying and that Ryoma is a good person. So Felnovalia told that he met many evil peoples before. He said that Ryoma is different and from now on he will watch the Ryoma show too. Back at the church, Beck tells Ryoma to do his job properly, while Wiz replies that he doesn't need to be so strict to Ryoma. Following this, the church was cleaned up and Ryoma also found out that after cleaning the church, they get fighting lessons from the guildmaster. Suddenly Worgen appeared, who was surprised to meet Ryoma. Ryoma said he helped to clean the church. Beck and Whis couldn't believe that Ryoma is an adventurer too. Then they were shocked when Worgen said that Ryoma is an E-rank adventurer. After that, Worgen trained the children from the slums. Ryoma realized that Wiz had a lot of physical strength and he is very strong for a kid. Beck then attacked the guildmaster and he was instantly defeated by Worgen. Worgen said Beck should attack from the blind spot. Meanwhile, the younger kids fought against Ryoma's slimes. Ryoma thought it would be good practice for the kids. Suddenly, Worgen challenged Ryoma to a fight. Worgen immediately attacked Ryoma and the others were surprised that Ryoma is very strong. After the fight, they said goodbye to Ryoma. Then Ryoma was praised for his great help and Worgen offered him a job as a teacher. Ryoma declined, fearing he is too inexperienced. Worgen accepted Ryoma's decision and he praised him again. He said that Ryoma is a treasure for the city of Gimmul. Ryoma was happy and he wanted to keep helping the city of Gimmul and the people in need. On his way home, Ryoma received a letter from Eliaria. Eliaria told him that she is learning to bake delicious desserts. She was looking forward to eating cake with friends. Ryoma was happy about the letter from Eliaria, and he hoped that she will find a lot of friends in the new school. A few days later, Eliaria tells Ryoma that she will soon be moving to the academy. She was nervous, while Ryoma learned that his letters always cheered her up. Also, she wished Ryoma a lot of fun at the Foundation Festival of Gimmul. Ryoma was happy about Eliaria's letter, and he remembered Carla's words. She tells him that he can make a girl very happy by sending the girl a personal gift. So Ryoma thought about what he could send to Eliaria. He thought of giving flowers, vouchers, or perfume. Suddenly he got a great idea for Eliaria's gift. He decided to give her something special and began using his alchemy skills to make personal soap for his crush. Ryoma finished to create the soap in a short time, but he wanted to give her something special. So he produced some soap that looked like their monsters, that they already have tamed together. Afterwards, Ryoma asked his security guard Dolce about the festival. He told Ryoma that soon there will be a culture festival in the town of Gimmul. However, Ryoma was grateful for all the information from Dolce, because the other employees doesn't know much about it. Suddenly Callum appeared. He had received a message from his sister Carla. Ryoma learned that his cleaner slimes were multiplying in the town of Lenov. So Ryoma made his way to his second laundry, and he used a teleportation spell. Ryoma arrived in the evening and Carla was waiting for him. However, the slime researchers reported that there are 75 new cleaner slimes. Ryoma immediately tamed his new slimes. After that, he asked about the results of the slime's research. Ryoma was impressed by the reports from Robelia and Tony. who summarized all observations in detail. Ryoma was happy that they found out how to use the propagation in a controlled way. So Ryoma spent the night talking to his employees about the slimes. The next morning, Ryoma went to visit his merchant friend Piora. Arriving at his company, he discovered a disgusting smell. Piora showed up and he said he got some stinky fish as a present. They were preserved and spread a foul stench. Piora asked for help, and he remembers saving Mia from a foul stench not long ago. Following this, Ryoma retrieved his new deodorant slime from his dimension home. Ryoma told Piora that his slime can absorb the stench. After that, his slime absorbed the stench, and Piora was very grateful. The fish no longer smelled. Also, he gave Ryoma some of his fish as a gift. Ryoma thanked his friend and he still wanted to visit Miyabi. Then, Piora replied that his daughter is on her way to school to learn more about the world. So Ryoma returned to his laundry in Gimmul, and Callum wanted to talk to him. He reported to Ryoma that the parents of his employees brought him some gifts. Jane's parents wanted to thank Ryoma and were happy that Ryoma gave Jane a great job. Ryoma learned that he was given barley and an unknown grain called samisa. Ryoma found the scent very refreshing like airwaves. Top G Ryoma didn't want to accept such a big gift, so Jane replied that it was just the leftovers and he can accept it without a guilty conscience. Ryoma thanked Jane and he wanted to pay Jane's parents for their harvested grain. Jane didn't want to accept his nice offer, but Ryoma insisted on paying for it. Later, businessman Ryoma had a meeting and Serge showed him a prototype of his music boxes. Serge said that Damon is happy to work for Gimmul's #1 businessman and they will soon be able to sell the goods. Serge suggested that they should sell their music boxes at the festival because they get a lot of publicity from the Semloid group. Ryoma wanted to know more about the entertainment group, and Serge said they will perform at the empty place next door. Following this, Serge asked if the group could use Ryoma's laundry to change their outfits. After that, Ryoma heard a scream and Ryoma ran to the kitchen. Then he saw Selma. She was shocked by the disgusting stench of the shapaya fish. Meanwhile, the other girls were cleaning, and they smelled the delicious fish dish. They immediately found out that they were using samisa as a spice. Selma then said that the fish stank recently, and Ryoma immediately summoned his slime. It was able to neutralize the smell, and they managed to cook a delicious fish dish. When they tasted the grilled fish, Selma had the idea to use the new spice. In the evening, they ate the stinky fish and they praised Selma for cooking such a feast. After eating such tasty food, Ling Ling offered to cook her home dishes as well. Suddenly, Callum had the idea that they should open a stall at the festival that sells the employees' hometown dishes. Ryoma was unsure, but Callum convinced him immediately. So Ryoma decided to sell street food at the festival with his employees. Dolce said he's looking forward to it and likes his idea. The other employees also loved the idea and were already motivated to do their best at the festival. Followed then, everyone cooked their hometown food and practiced cooking delicious dishes for the festival. A few hours later, they showed Ryoma their hometown dishes, which they wanted to sell on the Foundation Festival of Gimmul. Meanwhile, Callum told Ryoma that the Semloid group is showing up today. Because of this, Ryoma tells everyone to have fun tomorrow on the party. In the evening, Ryoma was in his office and Callum said they needed more staff in the short term, so Ryoma came up with a plan to solve their problem. Suddenly, Serge knocked on his door and he introduced him to the leader of the Semloid group. Following this, Prenance said that he runs the Semloid Entertainment Group and he was happy to meet Ryoma. He immediately felt that Ryoma is a genius and said he is Ryoma's fanboy. Prenance had received one of his music boxes from Serge and he was happy to hear his great music. Then Ryoma offered his group to rest. Afterwards, Ryoma learned that their journey to Gimmul was difficult. Ryoma was told that there are a lot of giant ants causing trouble near the city. As a result, Ryoma wanted to solve the problem, and he decided to visit the Adventurers Guild on the next day. Prenance was amazed by Ryoma's kindness, and he said that the gods love him. Meanwhile, Ryoma was surprised that Prenance is a little bit crazy. The following day, Ryoma visited the Adventurers Guild, and he asked Palma for quests about giant ants. Palma was surprised because a lot of people had problems with the ants, and Ryoma accepted the quest to hunt the giant ants down. Following this, Ryoma summoned all of his Limur birds and he ordered them to search for the ant colonies. So the birds flew looking for the monsters and Ryoma used his shared sensation spell. Ryoma sharpened his senses and he managed to find the ant colonies. Suddenly, he spotted his friends, Whis and Beck. Ryoma went to his friends and greeted them. They were happy to see Ryoma again, and a girl wanted to know who the boy is. Ryoma met the other adventurers from Beck's group. Then Ryoma learned that they also hunt the giant ants. They all grew up in the slums and started a party together. Next, he was told a blacksmith offered them to make them new equipment cheaply, if they can bring him some materials. Unfortunately, they had trouble finding the ants' colonies. Suddenly, Ryoma offered to help them and they thanked Ryoma. A few moments later, Beck couldn't find any ant colonies and Ryoma got his slimes out of the dimension home. The others were surprised by Ryoma's slimes. As a result, Ryoma ordered his slimes to line up in their positions. So the slimes sought out the monsters and they lured the ants out of their hiding place. Suddenly, a monster appeared and Ryoma defeated him instantly. Then more monsters appeared and Ryoma said that they can fight now. Ryoma wanted to help Beck's group fight so they could gain combat experience. So the young adventurers fought the ants and they showed Ryoma their fighting skills. Ryoma was impressed with their young age hunting monsters and he complimented them all. Then the last ant appeared and Ryoma finished him off instantly. After that they looked for more ants and they managed to defeat many ants by the evening. Beck was happy with their successful hunt. They then returned to the city and they thanked Ryoma because they wouldn't manage to defeat so much without his support. Also, they were happy that Ryoma protected them all along. Then Lumel said that tomorrow she wants to hunt monsters with Ryoma again. Beck said it's not possible because he has to work. Suddenly Ryoma had an idea, and he took Beck and the other adventurers to his laundry. Ryoma offered them a job to help him out at the festival. Followed, Callum looked at the children. Suddenly, Dolce, who knew the children, appeared. So Callum accepted the children as part-time workers and they thanked manager Callum and Ryoma. After their talk, Ryoma wanted to invite them to his celebration at the laundry. Then Ryoma gave a speech and he wished all guests a lot of fun at his celebration. After that, all the cooked dishes were brought by the employees. Next, Prenance showed up and he tells Ryoma that his party is awesome. Besides, Ryoma met Soldio, who apologized for his niece Maya's bad manners. Ryoma learned that the two are performing a show with swords. Meanwhile, Beck tasted delicious cookies, and the children from the slums loved the cookies too. After that, Beck and the others thanked Ryoma again. They admired him, but Whis was sad. He asked Ryoma for advice, and Ryoma realized that Whis was still afraid to fight against monsters. So Ryoma cheered Whis up and said that he has great friends who can always support him. He said that he just needs to gain more combat experience, and one day he will not be afraid. In the evening, Ryoma apologized for bringing the children from the slums without invitation. But Callum replied that it was a great idea because they are all nice kids. Before going to sleep, Ryoma wrote his future wife Eliaria a letter about his day. In addition, Ryoma wished her a lot of fun with her enrollment in the Magic Academy, and he sent her a present. Then we see Eliaria, who said goodbye to her parents. Reinhardt was very nervous because his baby girl will now live independently. Elise and Reinbach said that Eliaria is ready, and they all laughed together. After that, Eliaria's family wished her a lot of fun at the academy. Next, she drove to the capital, and she was very nervous, but Ryoma's gift cheered her up. A month later, we see Eliaria at her new school, and she is learning more about magic. Then she was deep in thought, because she was very sad. The class was too easy, and the other students avoided her, because she has the highest rank of a noble. Later, Eliaria met an unknown person. She introduced herself as the eldest daughter of the Vildan noble family. Michelle was very polite, and Eliaria said she doesn't have to speak like that. Followed, Eliaria said that Michelle can call her Elia, so they became friends. Eliaria then said that the class was too easy, and the other students avoided her because of her rank as a daughter of a duke. Michelle agreed, replying that she hadn't made any friends either. However, Eliaria thought Michelle was very popular. Suddenly, Michelle told her that on the first day, the other girls thought she was a prince. Meanwhile, Miyabi unwittingly listened their conversation. Following this, Michelle showed her a magic circle, and Eliaria immediately thought of alchemy. Michelle replied that she cannot use alchemy. Then she said that she is trying to teach herself magic circle science. Suddenly, Michelle asked why she immediately thought of alchemy. Eliaria replied that she has a friend who could use alchemy. Following this, Michelle added a mixture to the magic circle. Eliaria noted that Michelle is a passionate researcher like Ryoma. At the same time, Miyabi got curious and Michelle started her experiment. The magic circle glowed and sparks were created. Michelle spotted Miyabi and apologized for scaring her. Suddenly, Miyabi approached Eliaria and said she had a message for her. Eliaria was surprised and wondered what Miyabi wanted to talk about. So Miyabi replied that she had a message from a boy, and she didn't want to cause bad rumors. Eliaria found out that Ryoma is befriended with Miyabi. Next, Miyabi said that she should wish her good luck in school from Ryoma. Suddenly, Eliaria remembered the last evening with Ryoma. She was happy that Ryoma tried to help her make some friends. So Eliaria asked if Miyabi would like to be her friend. Miyabi was happy to be friends with Eliaria, and Michelle decided to be friend with the two girls as well. Afterwards, Michelle asked if they would like to form a team for practical training together. They were surprised and talked about the practical training. Everyone agreed with their new group, and Miyabi pointed out that they need 6 people in their group. They then sought out Riley. She was a noble daughter of the Silford family. Michelle said, she's a bit fussy about rules, but she's a very nice girl. She is also very capable and treats everyone equally. Followed then, Riley defeated her opponent in a fight and she was called by Michelle. Michelle then told her that they want to form a team together, and she immediately accepted to join their group. The girls were happy, but Miyabi asked her if she was sure about the decision. Miyabi knew that Riley is the best swordswoman in school and was invited by many others. Riley replied that the others were arrogant and she liked to join their group. After Riley joined their group, they realized they needed one more person. Suddenly, they spotted a commoner girl. She was a craftswoman, and they decided to invite her to their group. Kanon looked sad, and she was surprised when Miyabi spoke to her. Suddenly, Miyabi invited her to join their group, and she was delighted. She then thanked them for allowing her to join their group. Kanon comes from a famous family of craftsmen who create magical items. Suddenly, she tells them that she's a loser, so they learned that she can create magic items, but she needs the support of others because she can only use enchanting magic. Besides, she said that in addition, the other person must also possess appropriate magic to match her enchanting abilities. However, she hoped to find someone in this academy who could match her strengths. Michelle and the others accepted Kanon in their team. Kanon thanked them, and she was happy because everyone was so nice. The next day, practical training started, and Miyabi asked if they had any experience with outdoor camping. Eliaria and Riley said they had some experience with outdoor camping. Then the teacher said that class is about to start. So all the students went into the forest and they set up their tents. They should also learn to live alone without servants. Then we see the students, most of them had problems with setting up their tents. Eliaria's team managed to set up their tents with ease, and they were also able to create a fire. Suddenly, we see 2 girls. They asked another group to set up the tent for them. The other group refused, and they started arguing with each other. At night, Eliaria's group were surprised that many had difficulties with outdoor camping, so they went to sleep. The next morning, a tent collapsed, and a girl was injured. One of the girls blamed the other group that they caused it because of refusing to set up their tent. Suddenly they wanted to fight each other, but Miyabi stopped them. Michelle then said that using magic is dangerous. After that, Eliaria healed the injured girl, and they helped to rebuild the collapsed tent. Also, they thanked Eliaria's team, but Michelle said they should apologize to the other girls. As a result, the 2 troublemakers apologized, and the other group accepted it. Later, Eliaria said that they should all work together and support each other. Everyone agreed and they built a toilet together. After that, Eliaria showed Kanon how to build a trap. The students combined all their abilities so they could create a harmonious life together. When a girl was fetching water, she tripped and Eliaria immediately helped her. She said thanks to Eliaria and the girl saw flowers. Meanwhile, the teachers were very proud of the students, especially proud of Eliaria's team. So many beautiful days passed, and they made a campfire on the last day. They all had a lot of fun camping, and Eliaria's team all wanted to make lots of friends now. Suddenly, Eliaria remembered Ryoma's words. He encouraged her that her school life will be fun because she will make many new friends. After that, a girl that Eliaria have helped showed up. She wanted to give Eliaria flowers that she had collected. Eliaria was very happy and she wrote all her great experiences to her crush Ryoma. She also sent Ryoma tasty berries for his slimes. Then we see the bamboo forest employees planning to set up a stage. Callum said to Ryoma that the preparations will be done soon, and Ryoma was looking forward to the festival as well. A few hours later, the stage was built and he visits the Semloid group, so he watched them practice their show. Ryoma was impressed by their passion for demonstrating swordsmanship. Suddenly Guildmaster Worgen appeared. He wanted to thank Ryoma for hunting the ants. He then asked Ryoma to do a special quest for him. Worgen needed a person capable of using space magic, so he could only ask Ryoma. However, Ryoma learned that he has to collect special wood. Ryoma was surprised, because he gets to fight against tree monsters in the quest. It was the perfect quest for Ryoma, and he accepted immediately. The next morning, Ryoma and the other adventurers were gathered in Worgen's office. They learned that they need the wood from the monsters that called trance. Suddenly they asked why they should defeat 300 of them. Worgen then said that the yield from the Gimmul mine is getting less and less, so Worgen planned to build a new town for tourists outside the south gate. Mia and Walana loved the idea. Meanwhile, Celia wondered why they didn't use regular wood for construction. So Worgen replied that a famous architect is designing the project, and he only wants to build the stadium with Trent wood. Lipin still found the architect's decision questionable, since Trent wood is typically used for wands. Then Asahi was chosen to lead their team. They also learned that Ryoma uses his space magic as a support, and that he is interested in gaining combat experience against the monsters. Next, they were on the way to the forest to get some Trent wood. Ryoma was excited to do a quest with his friends, because he had great memories of his last quest with them. They discussed together their plan to find and hunt the monsters, so Lipin revealed that the Trents always attacks with their branches. He also said that the monster's weak point is their face. Suddenly, Celia asked if they were easily distinguishable from ordinary trees. Lipin replied that they can feel their magic because the monsters are magical beings. In the evening, Mia set up the tents and she saw Ryoma getting things out of his item box. He showed her some folding chairs, and there was a table in his item box as well. Mia and the others were surprised by Ryoma, and Mia praised him. She said he is a genius, and Ryoma was flattered by her kind words. They then discussed their strategy to fight the monsters. Then Asahi tried to cheer Ryoma up, because he noticed Ryoma was tense the whole time. However, he tells Ryoma to relax and promised they all will protect him. Then Walana and Manolia said that they will help out in case of trouble. Ryoma thanked them for cheering him up. The next morning they started their quest, and they went into the forest. Later, Lipin spotted a Trent, and he ordered to start attacking. Ryoma also senses the magic, and the adventurers attacked the monster. They immediately defeated the tree, and Ryoma collected the materials with his slimes. Following this, Lipin opened his dimension home, and they immediately wanted to hunt more Trents. Out of nowhere, Lipin discovered 3 more monsters, and the adventurers rushed into battle. All adventurers attacked the Trents, and Ryoma supported them with wind magic. Following, Ryoma was allowed to fight against a Trent too, and he bravely dodged the attacks of the monster. Then, Ryoma defeated them with a clean cut. Suddenly, Lipin realized that something is weird. But first, they wanted to take a break, and Ryoma sensed something suspicious in the forest too. Next, they were eating lunch, and Asahi praised Ryoma for his good work. Meanwhile, Celia asked Ryoma about his weapon, and he replied that he transformed his slime into a katana sword. The others were amazed by Ryoma's fighting skills too. While talking, Manolia discovered a new type of slime. Ryoma learned that the slime called a fluff slime, and he has the ability to fly. Suddenly, Lipin used one of his space spells, which teleported the slime on his hand. He wanted to help Ryoma tame the slime. As a result, Ryoma tamed a fluff slime, and he checked out his new slime's abilities. Ryoma learned that it has a multiplication level of 8, and it was also very light. Meanwhile, Mia said that she likes to see Ryoma playing with his slimes because he always looks so happy by doing this. After that, they went to the forest, and they sensed a dangerous aura that was very strong. Lipin noticed that the Trents have disappeared from their location. He suspected that a high-level monster had appeared. Then their adventurers' party began hunting the Trents. They fought many monsters and supported each other. Suddenly, Walana was injured, and while her wound was healing, a monster tried to attack her. Ryoma protected the two in time. However, Ryoma attacked all the Trents, and together they managed to defeat them all. Following, they went deeper into the forest and discovered more of them. Suddenly, Ryoma stuck his sword into the ground, and he summoned all of his metal slimes. Ryoma turned his slimes into axes and he threw the axe at the Trents. So all adventurers and Ryoma managed to defeat the monsters quickly. Suddenly, a strong Trent appeared, who was stronger than any other. Lipin said it's an elder Trent. So they planned to fight the elder Trent together. but Ryoma slimes were frightened by the elder Trent's magic power. Ryoma sent his slimes back to his dimension home. After that, the Trents protected their boss, and they attacked the adventurers. Ryoma created a concrete floor, and they got ready to attack the monsters. However, all adventurers fought the Trents, and the axes were rusted by the elder Trent's attack. Lapin and Asahi couldn't believe their weapons were useless. Suddenly, Ryoma had a plan, and he transformed one of his slimes into an axe. Ryoma attacked the elder Trent, and he found that pure iron slimes are immune to the boss monster. Then he wanted to defeat the monster with a special attack. Ryoma transformed his slimes into a powerful Morning Star weapon, so the others protect Ryoma in the meantime. He then attacked the elder Trent, and the boss monster was weakened. Next, he throws his weapon at the boss monster again and managed to defeat it. This causes a treasure chest to appear. After the fight, Ryoma was praised by Asahi, and he said that Ryoma is a very talented boy. In the evening, they celebrated their victory, and Ryoma served his friends some fried vegetables. Mia and the girls loves his food and tells him that his cooked dishes are always so good. Then Lapin said that the buried magic stones were a surprise. Asahi cried tears of joy because he was allowed to drink miso soup after a long time. So Ryoma told him that he had bought miso from the city of Lenov. Asahi was surprised about this and thanked Ryoma for this important information. The next morning, Ryoma and his friends returned to Gimmul, and he wondered if the preparations for the Foundation Festival were done. Asahi noticed that Ryoma was deep in thought, so Asahi said that in town, he can immediately check on his business. Following this, Lapin offered that Ryoma could transfer the collected trance wood to his dimension home. A few hours later, they arrived in Gimmul, and they said goodbye to Ryoma. Meanwhile, everyone worked on the stage for the Semloid group's show. Dolce immediately greeted Ryoma, and he went to check out the stage, which was being built in his absence. Ryoma was surprised, and he asked how they were able to set up the stage so quickly. Following, Dolce and Fiona told him that members of the Semloids set up the stage in just 2 days. Ryoma was impressed, and he learned that the Semloids also helped them set up their food trucks. Suddenly, Prenance showed up. He said everyone should have fun at the festival. After that, Callum wanted to discuss something important with Ryoma. Ryoma found out that they forgot to choose drinks for the delicious dishes. However, Ryoma didn't understand the problem, so Callum explained it to him. They wanted to offer an exotic drink, but they had no idea. Suddenly, they had the idea to sell Ryoma's exotic tea, which he was talking about last time. But Ryoma replied that they didn't have enough tea leaves, so Ryoma tried to come up with an idea for a special drink. As a result, Ryoma made barley tea that no one knew. He said that they have the grains from Jane's hometown and can use them to make delicious tea. Jane was surprised that they can produce delicious tea from the leftover grains. They thought Ryoma's Lipton iced tea tastes very good and thanked him for the great idea. In the days that followed, they all were working diligently, and Ryoma was looking forward for the festival. Later on, Ryoma wanted to create an ice sculpture for Prenance. Suddenly Serge appeared. He wanted to show Ryoma the finished music boxes. Then we see Mia watching Ryoma. She wanted to ask for help, but seeing him working so hard, she decided against it. Meanwhile, Ryoma listened to the new song and was amazed by it. Several days passed and the preparations were completed. Prenance was excited to perform a great show for the citizens of Gimmul. Then Serge also said that he was looking forward to the festival. Suddenly, Ryoma got tired, and Callum appeared. He said that Ryoma should rest, and he shouldn't work so much. As a result, Callum immediately sent Ryoma home, because he was worried about his health. The next morning, Ryoma was playing with his fluff slime, and he got the idea to create a fluff coin, because he was sure that his created fluff coin would be going to the moon. Suddenly, he saw a dragon on the sky, and he knew they were from the city of Lenov. In addition, he saw Piora riding on the dragon. Arrived in the center of Gimmul, he saw his friend Piora. He was surprised to meet Ryoma and greeted him immediately. Ryoma then learned that he had an urgent order to deliver. Suddenly Asahi appeared and he tells them that he had ordered the package. Ryoma told Piora that they are friends. Then Ryoma found out that Asahi bought miso and he wanted to use them for the festival. However, Asahi invited them to Mia's house, and Mia was glad to see his favorite person in this town. So she hugged him, and Ryoma was ready to clap her cheeks. Suddenly she noticed Piora and she asked why he came to visit them. At the same time, Ryoma saw the two set up a booth for the festival. So they learned that a few days earlier, Mia wanted to eat fried vegetables and remembered how tasty Ryoma's homemade food is. She wanted to ask Ryoma to cook her the dishes, but Ryoma was busy. She tells him that after seeing him work so diligently, she didn't want to cause him trouble. Because of this, she asked Asahi to cook her some fried vegetables. After tasting it, Mia said she loves it, and she raved about his tasty and buzzing food. As a result, Mia convinced Asahi to serve his dishes on the Foundation Festival day. A few moments later, Piora and Ryoma were allowed to taste Asahi's tasty mountain vegetables. They said the dish is very good, because Asahi practiced his cooking skills and watched many cooking shows. Suddenly, they said that they also want to sell rice with miso soup. But they have problems because the guests prefers eating while walking. At that moment, Ryoma got a great idea to solve their problem. So Ryoma pimped up their food and he showed them traditional Japanese rice balls. As a result, they could sell a new variant of miso soup at the Gimmul festival. Mia liked Ryoma's idea, and they thanked him for the great help. In the evening he said goodbye and he was on his way back to his laundry. Suddenly, Piora asked Ryoma for permission to sell the rice balls in his hometown. Additionally, Ryoma gave him more ideas to make money. However, Piora was grateful for Ryoma's business ideas, and before leaving he tells Ryoma that he will visit him at his food truck tomorrow. Meanwhile, the gods used the YouTube spell. They watched the Ryoma show, who was the top G in Gimmul. Suddenly, Felnovia also appeared, wanting to watch the Ryoma show. Felnovia said that Netflix didn't have any good series at the moment, and Kufo agreed with him. Also, he preferred to watch the Ryoma show and wished him a lot of fun with his life. So in the evening he had a party with his friends and he wrote Eliaria a letter about his adventures. The next day we see the Foundation Festival of Gimmul and all booths have been set up. Ryoma looked at the city and he was amazed. First, Ryoma visited his friends Mia and Asahi, who were selling Japanese dishes. However, they were happy to see him and wished Ryoma a lot of fun at the festival. Next, he discovered Prenance presenting visitors his invented music box. Serge said they made enough music boxes for everyone. He was confident that many of the town's residents would treasure his music box. Then Ryoma looked at his own booth, and his shop attracted a lot of customers. The dishes made by Ryoma's staff were loved by everyone, while Ryoma asked Dolce to help with the queue, and he was amazed that his booth could make so many people happy. Suddenly Jane asked Ryoma to order more stir-fry and Lipton iced tea in the kitchen. Meanwhile, the slimes cleaned the dishes and Ryoma immediately ordered more food for the customers. Then more food were cooked and Ryoma wanted to feed the waste to his scavenger slimes, who were very happy about the leftovers. After that, Worgen stopped by Ryoma's booth and Beck said that Ryoma is now Gimmul's top G. Suddenly he realized that the kids didn't have a break. As a result, he asked Worgen to show them around the town. Beck replied that they didn't need a break, but Carla and the other employees showed up and said that they shouldn't work too hard. Ryoma then learned that the new employees were taking care of the laundry in Lenov. Suddenly, Carla orders Ryoma to have fun at the festival because he always works too much without thinking about himself. But before Ryoma make a break, he wanted to finish the ice sculpture for Prenance. Next, Prenance appeared, and he was impressed by Ryoma's ice sculpture. When Ryoma was done with the ice sculpture, he wanted to enjoy the festival, but Serge and Piora were looking for him. The two merchants wanted to know more about his Lipton iced tea. So Ryoma told them the secret recipe, and they immediately wanted to get the contacts of the barley suppliers. Next, Ryoma told his employees that Serge and Piora have interests in their hometown's barleys. They thanked Ryoma, and they were very happy that Ryoma helped their family with the business. Later, Ryoma was admonished, and Carla told him to go have fun right away. Then Mia served her favorite friend Ryoma delicious Japanese dishes, and he was happy with the delicious meal. Suddenly, he spotted a little boy, who was lost. The boy was crying, and Ryoma wanted to help him to find his mother. Ryoma learned that the boy is not a resident, and Mia wanted to help too, but he just like Ryoma. Asahi was laughing, and wished Ryoma good luck. So Ryoma helped the little boy Teo to find his mother. Ryoma told him that it's his first time to experience the festival, and that he was from a faraway place. Then he remembered the beautiful memories he had since he was born again. He was happy that he finds so many friends, and experienced so much great adventures. Also became the top G of Gimmul with his laundry. Suddenly, Ryoma ran into Jalessa, and he told her that he was helping a boy to find his mother. Meanwhile, he saw many of his friends, and Jalessa was glad that Ryoma enjoyed his life in Gimmul. A few hours passed and Ryoma found Tail's mother. She was glad that nothing happened to her baby boy and thanked Ryoma for his help. Ryoma said goodbye and went back to his booth to see how much money he made. In the evening, many visitors watched the show of the Semloid group. They performed a great swordsmanship show with lightsabers made out of magic. Everyone was excited and they applauded. After that, Ryoma cooked many delicious dishes and he showed Selma how to cook yakisoba. She was impressed and Ryoma wanted to serve his friends many delicious food. Suddenly Carla said that the Semloid group aren't at the party yet. Ryoma was looking for the Semloid group and he found them on stage. They were working on a statue of the gods that they like. They were working on a statue of a very beautiful goddess, and Ryoma learned the name of the goddess is Manolia. Ryoma heard about goddess Manolia, but he hasn't met her yet. Besides, Ryoma learned that she is the goddess of the wind and many singers admire her. Next, Ryoma gave a speech and said everyone should have fun. However, everyone celebrated for the successful festival day and enjoyed the party with Ryoma's tasty dishes. Afterwards, Ryoma thanked Carla for always supporting him. Suddenly Maya appeared and she wanted to perform with Ryoma at the last performance. As a result, Ryoma performed a sword dance show with Soldio and Maya. Everyone was excited and applauded for Ryoma's performance. Ryoma was very happy to have experienced such a beautiful day. The next morning, Ryoma visited Serge and he asked Serge for a favor. He then wrote Eliaria about the good memories at the festival. Also, he sent Eliaria a special music box with one of his songs. She was grateful and told him that she loves his gift. Then we see Ryoma starting his day as top G in Gimmul, and he planned to make a lot of money like always.